From the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers wrap up their homestand with the Cavaliers in town. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP. That's K2 2.2 on your antenna or Xfinity Channel 302. DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams III are both out. Jeremy Grant is doubtful. Delano Banton, Ryan Rupert are questionable. The Rupert has been recalled from the Rip City remix. Donovan Mitchell out for Cleveland. The Blazers are 7-point underdogs. Tonight on 910 ESPN Portland, Steph Curry rejoins the lineup as Jimmy Butler returns to Miami to face the Heat. Pre-game coverage starts at 4 o'clock, tip at 4:30. The Warriors are 6-point favorites. ESPN's Shams Charania reporting USC star Juju Watkins suffered a torn ACL in last night's win over Mississippi State and will have season-ending surgery. Oregon sophomore forward Mookie Cook announced he is entering the transfer portal. After missing all but 5 games his freshman year, he will still have 3 years of eligibility. Over in college football, Stanford fired head coach Troy Taylor today after last week's ESPN report that had twice been the subject of third-party investigations into his treatment of female colleagues. And ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Mariners and catcher Cal Raleigh finalizing a 6-year, $105 million extension. The deal starts this season and buys out 3 years of free agency. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new black 1080 The Fan hoodie, as well as classic long and short sleeve tees. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com. This is Danny and Dusty.
Meringatang is going to be a thing.
You're not coining anything new.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
I'll throw some monkey sounds in there and call it go.
The old Danny Meringue pie?
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
The Fan.
Danny and Dusty here on a, checks my phone, Tuesday.
The 25th.
There you go. Thank you. I feel incredibly naked right now. The YouTube audience knows I'm not actually naked. It's more metaphorically because the charger on my watch broke, and I have not had my watch on in, 7, 8 years.
Welcome to the free wrist side of America.
Super weird. Don't like it.
Opposite. I can't wear a watch. I don't like it. It bothers me. I have a couple nice watches that are supposed to be for when you have to dress up type of deal. I never wear them. I hate having my wrist constricted. I don't like it.
I am with you there. When I have my Nike Tech fleece, and no matter what, you will see me pull it off my wrist.
Right.
It's the middle of my forearm. It's just not there. That right there is the sweet voice of Will Ortner in for Dusty Hera yet again. Dusty's lost in Mexico. That's what we're doing with here.
He's trying to.
I'm not going to mention anything about a cocaine habit this time because he had people texting him out of nowhere like, "Are you actually okay?" People thought it was surreal.
I love that that joke has been going on for
a decade.
10 years, 12 years, and every single time people are still like, "Hey man, is everything all right?"
Yeah, he had people actually concerned.
I thought it was a joke. Like when I was listening, I was like, funny joke. Ha ha ha. People text Dusty. No one would believe that. And then it's like, oh, they actually do.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to that wrist and the watch thing. I think it's a complete generational thing, and I think I'm the line of demarcation.
I would agree with you, except for I wasn't a watch guy until I started, because I like wearable tech. I do. I'm one of those geeks that does. Like I've looked into the Whoop, was it bracelet?
Yeah, dude. I looked into Whoop.
Like I like being like, look, man, it's not a secret. My body is breaking down at a drastic pace, so I like to be aware of things.
Right.
Like everyone in my family basically has died of cancer. So like I'm just trying to fight the good fight, as it were, and monitor as many things as I can monitor, not worry about things. Like I check my bank account multiple times a day, which apparently is normal.
You check multiple?
Oh yeah. At least once, guaranteed every day, usually 2 or 3.
Ooh, wow. See, I'm like once every other day.
So
now my credit card, though, I'm every day.
Well,
because I treat my credit card like a debit card.
Oh, okay, so you gotta make sure. Yeah,
I'm paying that thing off right away.
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with it. I don't want any debt. I've never had a loan. I take care of it right away.
We've mentioned this before. I had my identity stolen when I was in the Air Force. Somebody did buy a boat when I was in Afghanistan. A boat.
What kind of boat? Like a cool boat?
Yeah, like a ski boat, wakeboard boat.
Did you get to keep it?
No, I had to fight a bank that will remain nameless, and I will never, ever, 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 ever bank with them for over 6 months and $30,000. Oh yeah, they put $50,000 on the card,
Wow.
and then $30,000 in legal fees. I got every bit of it back.
Good.
But my credit was damaged. Again, this is in the early 2000s when identity theft was not common. And so banks basically tried to tell you to go to hell.
Really?
Oh, God, yeah. It was, dude, it was.
So this is the era of like the credit card company is coming to the college and like, you want free money?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It's why I now gladly bank with, one of my banks is USAA.
Yeah.
Now,
I've seen their commercials.
Navy Federal Credit Union, and then I have other stuff through USAA.
The great Sam Elliott.
Yes, and USAA took great care of us as we went to Washington, D.C. for Army Navy game, and I will continue to sing their praises. And if you have somebody in your family that is a military member that has USAA, glom on and leech all of the benefits from it because it's crazy.
Barbecued beef ribs.
Fantastic. It is still weird.
I'm hungry.
I had all of my bank cards all expired at the same time.
Okay.
What is it? 6 months ago? 5 months ago? November.
Yeah.
November 24. For whatever reason, all 3 banks that I use like normally, all expired November in 24. So everything that I have set up, like all of my bill pay stuff that I've set up on automatic bill pay, or if I've got a login for something, enter a password to have my credit card information put in there for all my stuff, I had to go through and find all of them.
Ooh.
And it was like, oh my God. Number 1, I use this for far too much. Number 2,
Password.
I missed my my USAA one.
Oh.
And they call you before it goes late because they're not trying to screw you over.
Right. They want to take care of
Yeah,
you.
they want to take care of me.
I like that.
Oh God,
Good.
it's the best customer. Look, I'm not getting paid for this. And sales is probably not happy about me doing this, but I'll do it anyways because they're the best customer service that exists. When you're talking about services, they're bar none better than anyone. They call me like, hey, just so you know, your card's no longer any good. I was like, oh, my bad. But when they call you, they call you by your rank.
Oh, they're like, Lieutenant, what's up?
So, hey, Sergeant Barang, like I haven't heard that in 20 years. And it's just like, oh, that's weird to hear.
This is important.
But it was like, they still treat you with that level of respect. And even if you're a civilian on the account, it's still very polite and cordial. And it's not a robocall. It just feels normal. But this is a long story anyways. I had to fight through all of this. So I have a real fear at all times of like getting my identity stolen.
Well, this makes more sense now though, because like the way you started it off, it was just like, I check my bank account 3 times a day.
But here's the
It's like,
thing.
whoa.
Dusty thought the same thing and we dug into it, and more people do what I do than don't. It was like 45% check it multiple times a day, I think is what it was. And then the next biggest chunk was like once a day, and then the next biggest chunk was once a week, and then the smallest was like infrequently.
Well, that's crazy town. I'm not infrequent. I might have been infrequent when I was like early college, late high school.
Basically, when you become an adult, like not 18, but like when you become when you have actual responsibilities, a full-time job,
end of college, where like, hey, it's not your full-time job, but you got a job.
You're responsible for yourself.
You're paying some bills. Yeah. You're probably paying your credit, you're paying your credit card. You're paying your phone. You're paying.
You might be on mom and dad's insurance still, but hey,
you might be paying a part of it,
sure.
Right? Or you're paying car, something kind of like that. That's probably where you start checking. I'm probably once a day, like right before I go to bed, or I guess like again, I'm once a day for my credit card because I'm a quick payoff. I treat my credit card because I don't have that high of a balance that I'm allowed. Look, I'm young. It's what it is.
It's fair. Look,
it's higher than it was when I was given the card.
Oh yeah.
So I'm doing pretty good in that sense.
I have one of the scary cards.
Ooh, like you got like a lot.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And it's not a brag. I am incredibly cheap. I don't spend money on anything other than my couple of vices of nicotine and caffeine, but I basically wear like the Nike line of clothing.
Right.
I like, don't get me wrong, I've got like some nice, one-off top tempos and stuff like that, but I don't really spend money. Now I used to when I was in the Air Force, but I would pay it off immediately because it's what you do. All of your money is basically expendable income when you're single and in the military.
Right.
But my credit score is incredible.
Nice.
But it's incredible because of what happened. I was like, I'm going to make sure, like, I have to build this up from out of the mud kind of a deal.
I got to make sure it's perfect.
My wife, she went on a cruise with my mother-in-law 2 weeks ago, through Mexico, Belize, Honduras, a couple of places. And she's like, hey, can I take the card? And I was like, I wanted her to have it because in case something happens, I know that this thing's going to work anywhere.
We're going to be safe.
But my first thought process was like, I'm letting this card out of my wallet, out of arm's reach, into foreign countries. And I'm like, God, no.
You're doing the like shake as you go to hand it over.
Well, here's the thing.
Like, no.
I go, you can take it, and I want you to take it, but I need you to do something for me. And she's like, what? I go, I need you to leave your wedding ring here. Because I'm like, I can't have like two of the most valuable things
in another country.
In another country.
If we lose both of these, it's bad.
Like there's insurance on the ring, and I could get it covered, but it would just be a pain in the butt to take care of. But her wedding ring it's a lot. Okay, I'll just say that it's a lot, and we're getting travel rings. So
kind of like the workout ring that a lot of football players used to have.
Yep. So I don't wear my if you're watching on YouTube, you see my chain and you'll see my wedding ring on it. I don't wear that because it's cool. I wear it because I've lost a ton of weight. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, I can literally like
you can pop it on, pop it off.
It does it like, and I've had it like fly off my hand in the last 6 months multiple times, and since it's like 6 months ago, it was flying off like crazy. So I put it on there, and she's like, are you going to do something? I'm like, honestly, I'm so used to it being on my chain now that I tried one of like the polymer rings.
Is that the black ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. The athletic one.
Yeah. And it like dug into my finger. Well, like my finger's all jacked up from when I had it torn up.
Right.
And so it like, I've got a weird bend in it, as it were.
There you go. Bend to the left.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's kind of just curved.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, it's quite literally like
it's
curved.
No, it's not straight. I'll tell you, maybe this is a me thing, but like I have no bracelets. I don't wear a watch. There's no
you don't
rings.
have like any adornments. Like no earrings.
I don't. Nope. There's no earring.
chain.
There's no chain.
So you're definitely going like you've got like nipples.
I have. Nope, nothing. I'm very.
You're the ones we need to worry about.
I'm clean,
Prince
man.
Albert.
I was gonna say there's nothing going
jangle.
on. There's nothing going on over here. I got rings. I got 5 of them, but I don't wear them, and they're not like there wasn't a weird phase in college. It was just like I got rings for football, and so like I have them, but I don't wear them. I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna change for me if and when. I mean, at some point, I'd like to hope I get married. That's gonna be a weird move for me because
it does feel weird.
I'm not a ring guy. I'm not a bracelet guy. I'm not a watch guy. I'm not a necklace guy. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I wore the small link silver chain as everyone did who was an athlete in my age
You had some
group.
puka shell necklaces?
I had the puka shells. Like
Love that.
I think my sophomore year high school picture, I've got my earrings in and my puka shell, which looked like a choker damn near. I've done the adornments. It's not a secret here. I mean, not everybody knows, but if you weren't listening one day, but I've had a lot of piercings.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I know you have your ears.
Yeah, I just put these back in.
Were you a septum guy?
In October. My wife, my 40th birthday, got me these diamond earrings, and she spent far too much money. But I wear them because they're nice. I don't like them. Also, I'm going through a midlife crisis, which is why I change my hair every 2 weeks. But I had you can't really see it because of my facial hair, but under.
You had the stud underneath?
The labret.
Oh my goodness.
I had the labret pierced in the Air Force.
They let you do that?
No.
I was going to say, I would thought that they would.
I may or may not have come back on base in a passenger seat inebriated at one point in time, and I still had the stud
had it in.
And security forces made my life a living hell over that one. He was having a bad day and made mine worse. But typically I had a very small, clear plastic stud that didn't have anything on the tip.
So you couldn't see it.
And it was just enough to keep it open because that thing will close in like 2 days.
You almost want it to close though, dude. Can you? Is it still like pierced? Like
No,
it's closed now.
No, it's closed. Like it closes immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I was gonna say, I remember when my brother got his nose pierced and he had his little stud. That is the one time, and maybe the one thing that I'm proud of, where bullying worked, and I bullied him until he just let it go. It was like, we can't do this.
See, I had the left eyebrow for a little while.
Yeah, eyebrow.
Yeah, well, the eyebrow and the left nipple were both.
No, it wasn't.
They were both.
No,
they were both lost bets.
Lost bets?
Uh-huh.
You were putting the nipple piercing on the line?
Brother, I put a lot more than that on the line before.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. So like,
now I get why you were listening to so much metal.
Yeah. I mean, I had my tongue. That one was
Yeah, the stud.
Yeah,
Nice.
That one's gone. That one heals up really quick. I didn't like that. It was weird.
Yeah.
Like you just feel like something. Yeah.
I don't like it when other people have that one. That one looks weird. It's off-putting.
Yeah, no, it was. That was right when I got home, and I just wanted to do something.
Yeah.
I've like I said, I've pierced a lot. Never that. Thank God. I would never ever go that way. But they're less permanent than tattoos.
Yeah, in a sense.
Well, I mean, they are. I mean, like, I got bored when I was 15. And I took a stud and shoved it through my cartilage. And that one, there's like a little bump on the back of my left ear. I literally just iced it down and shoved it through, which apparently is a really bad idea.
Yeah, well, aren't you supposed to put the potato behind?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it's a potato, but you're supposed to, I think.
I don't know. I just iced it down and took a dull stud and shoved it through.
Hey.
It was bad.
There's a lot of dumb things that people did in high school. Thankfully, I avoided it, but I remember the stick and poke tattoos. I have a ton of buddies from high school that have stupid
3 dots.
Oh yeah,
in their thumb.
Yep.
It's like, oh no, you went to jail? No.
They got a couple. The other big one was
I went to detention.
This was in school suspension.
They do it with like a permanent marker.
Circa 2014. Yeah. No, the other one too was branding. I had a bunch of buddies who branded themselves.
Oh, dude, I'm not gonna say their names. 3 guys that I went to high school with. They took a giant silver cross, like a lot like the one that's on my chain, but a lot bigger, and they put it on their forearms.
Yes.
And
but they always move. Whenever you brand yourself, they always move.
One of the guys came out okay, like in as far as coming out okay can.
Yeah.
One of them just turned into like a arrowhead shaped blob, and like it got like infected, and it was really bad. Like, he actually I think he ended up missing 2 games. Of high school football because it was so bad.
That makes sense because most people aren't insane. Like there's always one guy who like can brand himself and it's not an issue.
Yeah, because they're lunatics. It's like the
but then the normal guy does it, and instead of getting a cross, you get a spoon.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of guys that the fraternity that have the Omega. Yeah, that's
the Omega.
Like, and that's usually I had a buddy of mine in the Air Force, Doc Holliday. Who was a cornerback at Kansas State, was going to go to the NFL, shredded his knee, ended up going to the Air Force. His little brother's Carlisle Holliday, the quarterback at Notre Dame. Like, one of the most athletic families I've ever come across my entire life. But Doc had the Omega on his bicep, and it looked good on him because he's a 6'3", incredibly jacked dude.
Right.
But I was like, what did you use? Like coat hanger? They just bend the coat hanger. That way they can, like, it's like the thick metal, not the thin metal, like the thick metal one.
Yeah.
And they just heat that up, and
that's crazy. Because like dumb Will Ortner,
you can just take like calipers.
Yep.
Heat it up, and just
stab you with it.
Just basically slam it on you.
Okay, because like young dumb Will Ortner was a big fan of Miles Jack. Miles Jack has the same thing. Yep. And I thought that was so sick. And thankfully, someone was like, hey, dude, you burn your hand grabbing your food bowl out of the microwave because you microwave it for too long.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
On the fan text line, at 18, we used a blow dart to pierce my ears. Not a great idea. It still haven't closed. Blow dart probably would have been a good idea.
As far as high school ideas
as far
go,
as like dumb ideas, like it's particularly
could be worse.
My buddy had a blow dart gun that was like a no doubt blow dart gun. And the needles on them
Gwen
were
Stefani on it?
No. But the needle on it was like an inch long, and it was sharp as hell.
Yeah.
And the reason we know this is because one of them may or may not have, in a different state of consciousness, shot it into the other guy's butt while he wasn't paying attention.
Blow dart.
Blow dart to the butt, and it went all the way into the meat.
Oh yeah.
Again, inch long needle, and
Yep.
this is like an 8-gauge needle. It's thick.
Yeah.
And it went all. I mean, when I say the real blow dart gun, like the blow dart left, it was going through like an inch of wood.
I can't believe you let him shoot him with that.
He didn't let him.
I can't believe the other guy decided it would be a funny idea.
No, it was a fun back and forth because after he pulled that thing out of his butt, he proceeded to beat the living hell out of him, and everybody let him. It's like, you played those games, buddy. That's the prize you're gonna win.
Hey, at least we just tased each other. That's what we did.
We still need to get dusty with that.
It doesn't hurt as bad.
I told Suk, look,
just pee before.
I told Suk, like, if you ever want to actually make this happen, it can just happen. We have cameras rolling in here. We can just, I'll just have you behind him ready to catch him, and that's where we'll go. All right, let's get things started. The Portland Trailblazers did not play last night, but the play-in hopes may have died just quick, fast, and in a hurry with the actions of two different teams. Danny and Dusty, today, the fan.
Thanks.
Fan text line. Interesting is people are turning on their radios in their cars and they hear that exact line and they're like, what am I getting into? Look, it's going to be one of those kind of days. There's not a heaping massive, just big time stories in sports right now. So we're going to get a little off the rails today. But we are going to start
Not a heaping mass, but a big dumper.
It's
we will, and that's what we'll get to here in just a second. But the Portland Trail Blazers off last night. Tonight they play the Cleveland Cavaliers. And it might not matter. So the math is, after last night, with both the Phoenix Suns and Dallas Mavericks winning, Anthony Davis did make his return for the Dallas Mavericks last night. 26 minutes, 12 points, 6 rebounds. Not huge, but look, he's a great player, and just adding a great player alone will help you beat the Nets. And the Phoenix Suns are able to win at the near buzzer. Devin Booker hitting a pull-up jumper to give him a 2-point lead. The Bucks run something, I don't even know. It turns into an 18-foot baseline fadeaway for Brook Lopez to potentially tie the game.
Exactly how they drew it up.
And this is what not having Damian Lillard kind of does to you. Is you don't have another creator on the floor. As great as Giannis is, no Chris Middleton, no Damian Lillard. It gets a little thin there, particularly in the late game execution, as it were. But the Suns win and the Mavs win. And now the Blazers, Suns, and Mavs all have 10 games remaining. So this is where the math is starting to math very clearly. Because when it's half games and games played, the one thing I have always said is that you have to look at the loss column. You can make up wins. You can't make up losses.
Right.
So the Blazers have 40 losses. The Mavs and the Suns both have 37. So therefore, because the Blazers do not own a tiebreaker with either the Mavs or the Suns, or a three-way tiebreaker if all three teams end up tied, it means the Blazers, if for whatever games, because the Blazers have to be finished ahead of both teams. So whatever it is that those teams win, the Blazers have to win that many games plus 4. So we're going algebra here. If the Dallas and Phoenix win X, the Blazers have to win X plus 4. That is the math. So, as we said yesterday, if the Suns and the Mavs both win 4 games, that means in the final 10 games, the Blazers have to go 8-2.
It's not going to happen. Unfortunately, coming in, we talked about this yesterday, but when I came in, I was really excited because I didn't look at it in the losses category. You look at the wins when you're excited. You're looking at glass half full. You're like, oh, right there, 3 games, just got to win 3. And once you break down the math, it's like, oh, yeah, they're not making it. And that's probably what's best for the Blazers. And then you have to just kind of hope now that, hey, wherever you pick the right player, but also that maybe you get a little lottery ball luck. I mean, the year that you jumped all the way up to 1, now you're probably not going to jump all the way up to 1.
But the Odin lottery, they had a 5.2% chance of the number 1 overall pick, if I remember right.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah. And look, to be blunt, and this isn't anything out of the realm of no kidding. If they win the lottery, the Blazers jump into not title contention, but really being like, you add Cooper Flagg to this team, and your team is built around Toumani Camara, Cooper Flagg, Denny Avdia.
It's pretty good.
You have got 3 demons that are 6, 7.5, 6'9", and 6'9".
Right.
I mean, it is what it is.
But that's probably not going to happen.
It's probably not going to happen. But if they do fall back to the 8th best lottery odds, you basically have a 25% chance of jumping into the top 4.
And that's huge because right now when you look at this draft, who does that get them? Because you've got Cooper Flagg's probably 1.
Cooper's
and
1.
Then you've got
Dylan
the 2
Harper,
Rutgers kids going. Oh, they're saying
VJ Edgecombe is ahead
Bailey's
of,
falling out.
Yeah.
But so
don't get me wrong, he still has plenty of supporters, but I would say that the consensus right now is that Edgecombe is 3.
Okay, but then as a Blazer fan, they wouldn't take Edgecombe, or they wouldn't take Bailey.
Well, no, I think if you're taking the biggest swing, which has kind of been the moniker for this front office, I think they would look at a 6'10" Ace Bailey and go,
oh, okay,
if he can be something. But again, if you're talking about what this front office and what this team and what this organization has prioritized, it is a particular profile.
You want long.
Scoot notwithstanding, They just thought Scoot was the best player at that draft slot. And I think it's very much who is the best player at that draft slot? And if all things are equal, which way do you go? Like in Scoot's draft, for instance, I think they had Scoot and Miller on the same level. And I think that it had Charlotte taken Scoot at 2, the Blazers would have taken Miller at 3.
And I remember around that time, Miller coming on late, strong. Everyone was really excited about it. You were really excited about him because all we had heard was Scoot would be the number 1 pick in every other draft. Scoot would be number 1. Scoot would be number 1. Scoot would be number 1.
And I had Miller number 2 on my board. And it's not a shot at Scoot. It's just that if I have guys on the same level,
which one's taller? Which one's longer?
Yeah, like what's the thing that you can't coach? Size. And so that's always kind of been my MO with stuff. But as it pertains to the Blazers right now, if they go 8-2 in the next 10 games, they have maybe a puncher's chance because the Dallas Mavericks have probably the easiest schedule in the Western Conference remaining, where the Suns have the most difficult schedule in the NBA. Yeah. So, but you have to pass both teams.
You have to pass them and the Mavs. The Mavs schedule is going to be interesting, but it's not as difficult as the Suns.
It's incredibly easy when compared to the Suns. But
the other thing too,
you have to pass both teams.
Well, in the Blazers, the schedule isn't insanely difficult, but it's not easy either. You play 6 out of your final 10 games on the road. 5 of them in a row. Yeah. Like, how often do we see a team after, they're on game 5 of a 5-game
and you go across the country twice.
And they lose. Well, and the other thing,
winning on the road is hard.
Look, man, you're going to hit a certain point, too, where, hey, where does it need to go for the team, too? And the writing will be on the wall. Right now, you have a chip in the chair. So you're saying there's a chance. Yeah, there's a chance. But where does it more likely end for you? And so, to be honest with you, that's why I'm starting to look at NBA drafts.
Yeah, nope,
I'm looking at mock drafts.
Look, I've already started writing up my first. I've already started writing up my first previews, and obviously a lot of it's going to change on May 12th when the lottery does hit. But I'm going to start pumping that stuff out here relatively soon, and maybe we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. The Ringer has already released their lottery draft preview, and just kind of get a little bit of an understanding because we have a general idea of where the Blazers will fall as it pertains to the pre-odds draft, but or pre-odds lottery. And we'll dive into that today, maybe tomorrow. Depends on how things goes. But coming up next, the Seattle Mariners have inked the big dumper for the long haul. We'll dive into the importance of the Mariners actually spending money and more. But first, just a big Kuno Sports Center update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Trailblazers wrap up their homestand with the Cavaliers in town tonight. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP. K2 2.2 on your antenna or Xfinity Channel 302. DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams III are both out. Jeremy Grant is doubtful. Delano Banton and Ryan Rupert are questionable, but Rupert has been recalled from the Rip City remix. Donovan Mitchell, meanwhile, is out for Cleveland. The Blazers are 6.5-point underdogs. Tonight on 910 ESPN Portland, Steph Curry rejoining the lineup as Jimmy Butler returns to Miami to face the Heat. Pre-game coverage starts at 4 o'clock. Tip at 4:30. The Warriors are 6-point favorites. Oregon sophomore forward Mookie Cook announced he is entering the transfer portal. After missing all but 5 games his freshman year, he will still have 3 years of eligibility. And Stanford has fired head football coach Troy Taylor today after last week's ESPN report that said Taylor had twice been the subject of third-party investigations into his treatment of female colleagues. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
There's a big old dump in Seattle. The biggest, in fact. The big dumper. Cal Raleigh has inked a big-time deal with the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners spending some money, it appears, finalizing a 6-year, $105 million deal, according to Jeff Passan of ESPN. Deal starts this season and buys out 3 years of free agency. But the franchise centerpiece outside of the pitching staff...
And Julio. I would say
yes.
Julio,
but he's already taken care of.
Yeah, you took care of him right away. I'll tell you what, for a franchise that's made it clear like they are not going to spend money unless they absolutely have to, I'm a little bit surprised that they were willing to go and get this done, but I'm incredibly thankful because you would have seen a revolt. Cal Raleigh is the leader of that team.
He's beloved.
Julio is the best player on that team, or you could say Gilbert, or you could say Kirby, but Raleigh, he tells it like it is. He's not afraid to call out people when they need to get called out. He is not afraid to say something that's going to anger those in the organization, but it's what fans were saying already, right? So the fact that the Mariners put it all aside, they sign him, he's already a Gold Glove catcher. He's been absolutely fantastic at the plate. When you need a big clutch hit over the past 3 or 4 years, it feels like it's been Cal Raleigh every single time. I love that they went out and did it. And hopefully, too, as you get the younger catcher that's coming up through the minors, the Ford kid, hopefully you're able to then move Raleigh to that DH spot and finally have some stabilization there. Like, I know that they went with Rowdy Tellers this year, and it sounds like he's going to be the DH, at least moving forward. But at some point, you're going to want to make sure that you can keep Cal Raleigh's bat in the lineup while getting that younger player up and getting him some playing time.
So, because it's my want to get nerdy on it here real quick, Cal Raleigh last year, MLB percentiles among catchers, 98th percentile in fielding run value. 98th percentile in fielding run value, meaning he
awesome.
Saves you runs at an extremely high level. He's the best defensive catcher in baseball in the sense of run value saved, and he's one of the best.
He's great at pitch framing.
Well, he's the best pitch framer in baseball. That's like he's 98th percentile. He is that guy. We were talking pre-show. I'm a big-time Cardinals fan. You know, the Cardinals had, 18 years of Yadier Molina. To me, Yadier Molina is the best defensive catcher in baseball history.
Yeah.
It was a different era, and you didn't steal, but you didn't even dare steal on Yadi. You didn't even think about it.
Right.
And as a framer, he was incredible. Nothing got by him. He was unfreaking believable.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to Cal Raleigh, here's where it gets crazy. Is on the batting. His X slugging, 88th percentile. Average exit velocity, 78th percentile. Barrel percentage, 96th percentile.
They just threw up a stat on MLB Network that I was watching. He has 91 home runs as a catcher since 2022. The next closest, 73. Yeah. There is no better batting catcher in the league right now than Cal Raleigh, at least when it comes to home runs.
And give it some time, and you're going to see a certain Orioles catcher probably
flying
up that list.
There's a certain Sherwood catcher that is a stud, and I'm not downplaying.
No, I mean Adley's probably the second best catcher in baseball right now.
Well, I mean, look at Cal Raleigh. He got the Platinum Glove this last year. Not only was he the Gold Glove, he got Platinum Glove for being the best defensive player in any position in the league. The Mariners had to pay him.
Yes.
He was the leader.
You could make an excuse for all the other guys that they've lost over the last 2-3 years, the Teoscars of the world.
Not good excuses, but they're there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're there.
Again, not keeping Teoscar and for what he took to go to the Dodgers is still one of the crazier things to me. It's like you wouldn't give the guy $7 million.
Well, the other thing with him too is he wanted to leave.
I mean,
for whatever reason, and I've been to Safeco, T-Mobile now. When you're down there at field level, it's crooked. The batter's eye is crooked, and you can tell. And I don't know how much that truly affects one's ability to hit. I'll tell you right now, it would not have made mine better or worse. I cannot hit at all. But it is an issue, it sounds like, for a lot of right-handed batters and left-handed batters. And that's why a lot of those players don't go to Seattle.
That and
cheap.
I think that's more important because I think you can
Cheap.
overcome that
Cheap.
with a little bit extra.
Cheap.
And that's, you look, man, like when you talk about ownership, that's one of those things that I will just hammer that home over and over and over again. Speaking of ownership, the Portland Trailblazers over the last couple of years have made a move to bring more alumni back to the team and to the organization, to the community, because it was something they lost just incredible sight of. It's something that they did not do well for a very long time. And Joe Cronin, Chauncey Billups, and Dwayne Hankins, obviously the general manager, head coach, and president of business operations for the Trailblazers, have made a concerted effort to address that over the last couple of years, bringing back Greg Oden, bringing back Brandon Roy, bringing more alumni around the organization. And the other night, they brought in members of the finals run teams in 90 and 92. There was one guy missing, Clyde Drexler. Kerry Eggers, a longtime beat reporter, covered the Blazers forever, and knows those era guys very well. Talked to Clyde Drexler about why he wasn't there the other night, and I don't know if I believe it. We'll get to that next year on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
Check
Portland Trailblazers brought back a lot of their most prestigious alumni from one of their best periods of basketball, the 90-92 two-era teams. And, in that group, you had, if they are still with us, unfortunately, those era teams have lost 4 players. Rick Adelman was there, and he's been brought back into the fold. That started last year when they had Rick Adelman night, when the Denver Nuggets came to town because his son, David Adelman, formerly of Lincoln High School, but also on the now Denver Nuggets coaching staff. It's a big deal for them. And it was a fun little line if one of the media members asked Rick pregame, will you cheer for the Blazers tonight? He goes, pregame, I will. Afterwards, absolutely not.
Well,
it's my son.
Yeah, of course.
But it was in a world of like such political answers. It was super cool for Adam to be like, "It's my son, man." No,
it would have been really funny if he did the old like, "I'd really like them to tie."
Yeah, but no, I like to see the loyalty. Just like you're there,
right?
Obviously, Terry Porter's there. Unfortunately, Jerome and Duck and Cliff. No longer with us. Members of their family were there. Cliff Robinson's twin sons were there in his place. I thought it was really, really, really cool that they brought in family members to represent those guys. But the biggest, most popular, most famous, most, arguably the greatest player in franchise history, Clyde Drexler, was not present. And it was not lost on a lot of people. And Kerry Eggers, who's got his own website up, kerryeggers.com, has a story up right now. Why didn't Clyde Drexler attend the celebration? And he had his reasons. First and foremost, his wife has been going through cancer.
Yeah, and it sounds like she's
doing better,
recovering well.
And
I hope I'm not speaking out of turn.
But no.
From reading the story, it sounds like she's on the mend.
All reports that I have heard that things are going great, and we love to hear that. In this, Kerry Eggers talked to Clyde Drexler because he has that relationship from covering the team during that period. And he says that Clyde told him that Terry Porter called him a couple months ago and told me they're thinking about doing this reunion event. I told him about Tanya, his wife's situation, but said as it gets closer, let me know. Clyde then told Kerry that he didn't know the date of the event until I called him on Tuesday. And, Kerry reached out to the Trailblazers, and he says, a Trailblazer official told me that Drexler was extended an official invitation with a date well ahead of time, though when I asked, he wasn't sure how the message was delivered, whether it was by mail, email, text, or phone call. It does seem hard to believe the Blazers wouldn't have made sure the poster guy from that era, arguably the greatest player in franchise history, was invited. Still, that is what Clyde told me, and that's from Kerry Eggers. There is a sordid history here.
And I don't think, even like as someone growing up in the area, that I realized how sordid it truly is.
So these are Clyde's words from Kerry Eggers' article. They dropped the ball, but they have dropped many balls. Again, this is straight from Kerry's website here again, kerryeggers.com. Go there, read it. I don't want to take everything from it, but I just want to take a couple paragraphs and just set the table here. Drexler has antipathy for at least a couple of aspects of the Blazers organization. For one, he believes executives have paid little attention to the franchise's former players over the years. He's not the only former Blazer to feel that way. I have talked to former Blazers from that era, and it's yes. I will say clearly and totally, the Blazers dropped the ball for a long period of time. Terry Porter, TP was like one of the only guys that you saw around. Maurice Lucas, when he was still around, was also still around the organization, as well as the work that his son David now does as part of the Lucas Foundation efforts also continues strong. But you didn't see those guys when they are around. You didn't see Duck. You didn't see Cliff. You didn't see Buck. You didn't like TP was like one of the only guys that you see. When I did Outsiders. During the playoffs, we brought in Darnell Valentine, who was in an era before that, but he was another guy that, if you ever get a chance to meet Darnell, incredible human, love talking to him, but there's just not a lot of guys, and it sucks because that era was, you're talking about, the true dyed-in-the-wool Rip City era that took off after the 77 title team and was the next most successful part of the franchise. There were stretches where that team was the second best team in basketball for probably about 4 years. and they just came up short, unfortunately. I mean, they had 2 finals appearances against the Detroit Bad Boys and against Jordan's Bulls.
Right.
Like that's who they lost to.
You lost to 2 of the better dynasties of
Ever.
NBA.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was gonna say of that era, and then it's like no, it's NBA.
You could say
it's
ever.
NBA. I mean, like that Pistons team literally beat Boston Celtics
and Jordan Bulls.
Lakers and the Bulls all to win those titles. Like you just
They went through the gauntlet.
Unfortunately, you were always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
And the same thing happened with the 99-2000 team when they went up against the Lakers. It was the 2 best teams in basketball were the Blazers and Lakers. That Western Conference Finals was the finals, as it were, as it pertained to the 2 best teams in basketball. But those, you don't see a lot of those guys. Like, do you see Rasheed around? Do you see Damian
Never.
around? Do you see Steve around? Do you
Never.
see Scotty around?
Never.
I mean, obviously Arvidas.
I don't know
is,
that you want Scotty around.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Like,
yes.
Arvidas is in Lithuania, so you don't see him around very often. But it's tough.
I think from a younger fan's perspective, coming through with a team that, like, I obviously not alive for those teams, right? I think that's why there's a lot of anger and animosity too, I think, from a younger fan's perspective, because the fans of my age, the new generation, the Gen Z that are coming up, it's Dame, and then some of the older crew like me, it's B-Roy and LaMarcus.
Yes.
Right? Like we remember those. Those are our favorites. But how often even is Brandon Roy around? And I know LaMarcus just retired, but he's not around.
There are efforts being made to bring him back in the fold.
And hopefully that they do for both of them, because that's a key to teach the future generation of fans.
The history of the community stuff, it matters.
Look at what we did look at what these players did for this community, right? But I also think that it can be a good thing because NBA players, past and present, they all talk to each other. And if you treat them the correct way, it's possible that maybe down the line, hey, there's a role player that had a connection because they played with Jace Richardson at Michigan State or whatever, or they know Jace
they
from
take care of you,
AAU,
like,
and they're going to take care of you. They're going to have you back. They're going to have the statue when you leave. They're going to have the tribute video for you. We all make fun of it. We all think it's stupid, but it's nice to be remembered
it's ego,
and to be treated right,
and it matters. And I don't mean that in a negative connotation. Like, look, I'm a fan of one of the most dysfunctional organizations in the NFL.
Right?
Guess what? Once a Raider,
always a Raider, and they take care of you.
Every single one of them.
And people always talk in NFL circles about how it is truly special to be a Raider, even when they suck.
Does not matter.
Even when they suck.
Look at John Gruden and what he went through from his own doing.
Twice a Raider.
Watch him when he talks about the Raiders. He won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
He got traded from the Raiders.
He is a Raider through and through because of the relationship they make. And this is where this starts to deviate, right? The part of this that Clyde says is the problem was one ownership with Paul Allen, but Burt Kolde, who is the vice chair of Vulcan, and helps Jody Allen run the Trailblazers right now, and basically he lays everything at the feet of Burt Kolde, and this is the part of this. And Clyde says he has no bone to pick with Cronin, who's been the Blazers GM for the last 3.5 years. And he flat out says, I've had conversations with Joe, and he seems to be a nice guy, but he can only do so much. Until the franchise is sold and they get rid of Burt Kolde, they will struggle. And that's where it's like, okay, this feels like an axe being grinded. Clyde wants to look, I love Clyde. Clyde is literally the reason I started watching the Blazers when I lived in LA. I've mentioned this before. First ever basketball game I went to was Blazers-Lakers at a Lakers game growing up in LA at the Forum. I just happened to move to Portland 2 years later. Okay, it just literally a coin toss. My family was going to move to Dallas or to Portland, and we ended up going to Portland. Okay, but that was my favorite team because I watched Clyde play. This feels like ego because his coach got fired. Rick Adelman got fired, and he demanded a trade.
It didn't end well.
Back to Houston. It got nasty, and it's like, I get it, Clyde. You want to come back, but if you're sitting here waiting for the organization to be sold on your terms, then it's not about the fans. It's not about the community. It's about you. And I love Clyde. You've got a street named after you. You'll probably have a statue built out there when they head down that path. But at some point in time, man, swallow the pride and get it done. If you want to come back, come back. If not, stop. Stop this. Stop with the whole jilted lover thing. You wanted to go to Houston. We all know that. You're from Houston. You were on TV post-career for the Houston Rockets. You played for Houston at Phi Slamma Jamma. Houston is your home. That's cool, man. I'm okay with that. But you don't get to have it both ways. Either come back or don't. Don't sit there and like, well, it's because of this. Do you want to come back? Then come back. Swallow your pride and come back.
Well, and he's going to want to do it the other way. He wants to be, and this is a thing that a lot of people do now, is the victim is the wrong word, but he wants to be the one that is viewed as the wronged party.
Yes. And if you want to come back, though, who knows when the team's going to be sold? And look, this is the dark side of this. We've already mentioned there's 4 guys from that era gone. Do you want to come back before something happens?
Unfortunately, that might be the only way. How often do you see that in just real life?
Thankfully, Bill Walton and the Blazers reconciled.
Yeah.
And Bill had real beef because of the way his injuries were handled.
Real fair beef.
Yes. And Bill came back. So figure it out, dude. Like I want him back. This is not dismiss Clyde Drexler. He is on the Mount Rushmore of greatest Trailblazers. There's no doubt about it. None. You cannot tell the story of the Portland Trailblazers without Clyde Drexler. He is one of the tentpole figures of this franchise's history. I want him back in the fold, and I want a statue in Rose Quarter for him. Him, Dame, Bill, Sean Lee. Those are the 4.
That might be the only way you get him back.
But let's say that Jody Allen and Burt Cole build it. Is he going to come back? And if he's holding that over their head, man, I can't believe you then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's either you do or you don't.
You want to come back on your own terms, and in your own terms, you should have a statue. Because he doesn't have one in Houston, correct?
I don't know.
Maybe at the college.
Yeah, Phi Slamma Jamma, they're
for sure.
They're gods there.
For sure. But so maybe that's what it is. And he wants it. He wants that statue. Because, think about it. When you talk about all the other organizations in basketball, they have the statue. Hey, you are the best player in the organization's history. But you have the statue, right? Even if it looks like Ronaldo's, you have the statue. And so maybe that's a part of it for him, where he feels like his ego is hurt and he shouldn't have to come back until he is given that statue. Because, at one point, you have to look at him and, if he's not the best player in Blazers history, he's the second. Yeah. So I just thought it was interesting. This is the last line I'll go, and we'll get into the next segment here. This is from Terry Porter. Clyde hasn't been back here in a long time. Everybody has tried to get him to come, but he has some feelings about people in the organization. I think that tells you everything you need to know. All right, coming up next, we're starting to get some clarity as it pertains to the NFL draft and which way the Tennessee Titans may go with their number 1 overall pick. We'll get that and more here in hour number 2. Danny and Dusty, 10 to the Fan.
with George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. A Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers wrap up their homestand with the Cavaliers in town tonight. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP, K2 2.2 on your antenna, or Xfinity Channel 302. DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams III are out. Jeremy Grant is doubtful. Delano Banton and Ryan Rupert are questionable. The Rupert has been recalled from the Rip City remix. Donovan Mitchell, meanwhile, is out for Cleveland. The Blazers are 6.5-point underdogs. Tonight on 910 ESPN Portland, Steph Curry rejoining the Warriors lineup as Jimmy Butler returns to Miami to face the Heat. Pre-game coverage starts at 4 o'clock, tip at 4:30, and can also be seen on TNT. The Warriors are 6-point favorites. Stanford fired head football coach Troy Taylor today after last week's ESPN report that he had twice been the subject of third-party investigations into his treatment of female colleagues. And ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Mariners and catcher Cal Raleigh finalizing a 6-year, $105 million extension. The deal starts this season and buys out 3 years of free agency. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
More, please. Golf in the Northwest with Jason Swigard is back. Saturdays at 8 a.m. before the Sinner and the Saint on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. This is Danny and Dusty.
It's not your problem, Doc. You don't have to mix up in this.
That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
Go ahead. Go ahead, skin it. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080
I'm your huckleberry.
The Fan.
Hour number 2 here on Danny and Dusty. It is a Danny and Will Orton edition. Dusty's still sitting down in Mexico. Jeff Russ behind the glass on the ones and twos. We're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080am the fan or twitch.tv/1080am the fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for being with us on this wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. Well, Cam Ward, University of Miami, quarterback and now presumptive #1 overall pick, had his pro day yesterday, and it was live streamed. And it was out there for everyone to see, all of the darts, all of the pre-planned routes and everything that comes along with it. And what was interesting was who was missing from that particular workout. The Cleveland Browns sent 2 people to go watch Cam Ward work out. Typically, you would probably see a lot more from one of the top 3 pick holders go there. But it seems to be becoming more and more clear the Titans are not going to trade out of that spot. They're going to take Cam Ward. Or if they do, they're going to get all of the things.
Yeah, they want everything.
I don't think there's a team out there.
They have a lot of holes.
There you go. I don't think there's a team out there that exists. Let that one land clean. That is going to give up the King's ransom for Cam Ward. I like Cam Ward. I said coming into this season that of the quarterbacks that I believed in, air quotes, Cam Ward was the guy that I like the most.
Yeah, well, let's just be honest. If Cam Ward comes out last year, where's Cam Ward taken? Let's say at WSU he has this same year where he's awesome. He's Heisman finalist. He is everything that we thought he could be. Right?
I would take him in front of McCarthy.
So he's fourth.
That's me though.
So he's fourth.
Yeah.
So he's fourth. And according to a lot of NFL people, they were saying that McCarthy was low. Like, it still shocks some of them that McCarthy was as low as he was. And McCarthy, again, was the 4th QB taken off the board. So there's a chance that he's at best 5th.
We may look back at last year's draft and go, well, that was a really good quarterback draft.
Right, but there's also the Trevor Lawrence draft.
Where it's just Trevor Lawrence.
And even Trevor Lawrence, there's a lot of shine that has worn off.
Certainly.
There. So I wonder, with Cam Ward in Tennessee, will there be a team that falls in love with him? Will there be a team?
Because all it takes is one. I mean,
all it takes is one.
The Panthers are a perfect
and it's
example.
a weak QB class.
Of the bad teams doing it.
Right.
But Trey Lance is the example of the good teams that do it.
Right.
When you fall in love with your guy, you fall in love with your guy.
Will there be a team that makes that jump? I don't know that there's a team in this that would. Because the teams that I think, they're in a spot where they need a QB, Cleveland Browns, it sounds like they really like Shedeur. There's a lot of smoke to the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants.
But it also sounds like that Dion has been trying to keep the Browns away from Shedeur, which makes that more interesting.
It's a funny situation because as an organization, if I'm Dion, I want Shedeur nowhere near Cleveland. But as a head coach and a quarterback coach, Kevin Stefanski, I might want Shedeur there. Now, Daboll is a great 1B, right? If he ends up in New York and he's with Brian Daboll, that's a great 1B. Sure. Daboll's been awesome with every QB that he's had. He helped fix Jalen Hurts. He helped Tua Tagovailoa when he was at Alabama.
Couldn't save Daniel Jones because no one can.
No one can, but he made him look good for a year. And he's the one who helped fix Josh Allen.
And, Tommy Cutlets.
But when you talk about Kevin Stefanski, who are the QBs on his checklist?
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins. What does Kirk Cousins have? He's a pretty smart QB, not overly athletic, not a great arm, not a bad arm, but a good arm.
Median quarterback as far as tangibles.
Baker Mayfield. Pretty average quarterback, maybe slightly above. There's some things about Baker that I like a little bit more.
I don't think it was a skill issue as much as it was a maturity issue in which Baker got that right, and now he's at least top half, if not the 10th best quarterback in the league.
He's above average.
Yeah,
he not an overly strong arm, not overly athletic,
and then he got what was left of Deshaun Watson.
This Kevin Stefanski coach, correct me if I'm wrong. Was he part of that crew in Minnesota with Case Keenum?
I mean, yeah. It's
definitely average arm.
Yeah.
Under
he knows how to get the stuff out of guys.
Right. But below average athleticism. What does that fit with Shedeur? Shedeur is a guy with a pretty decent arm, but not insane, not a flamethrower.
No.
He's not overly athletic. He's not unathletic, but he's not going to run around forever.
Good size.
He's great in the pocket, in movement.
Maybe too good at some times for holding on the ball too long.
Fair. But again, he's smart. He's a game manager. Even look at the last success that Cleveland had. True success where they got to the playoffs. Joe Flacco. Old-ass Joe Flacco was able to have success in Cleveland.
Comeback player of the year.
Because, weird, a guy died and he got comeback player of the year. But they had success. At that point, he's lost the power that he had when he was in Baltimore prime. He is a below average athlete. He has an average arm probably because he had a way above average when he was in Baltimore. But he was a game manager. The attributes that Shedeur has fit well with what Stefanski can build. Now, I'm not saying that that's where he's going to go, but there is definitely some smoke to that fire, and I understand it. It's not because it's the organization, because the organization is a dumpster fire. And if it was just based on the organization, he shouldn't want to go there. But because of who the coach is and the success that he's had with a certain style of QB that Shedeur fits, maybe that's a possible landing spot and why a team that needs a QB wouldn't trade up to that Tennessee spot.
And the interesting thing is, if you're talking about Stefanski and Cleveland and Shedeur, Fan Text Line brought up the same point I was just about to make. I don't think there's really any shaky ground around Stefanski right now. I don't think he's somebody that's going to get put on the eject button immediately. Whereas with Daboll, it feels like that ground it's awful thin ice. That if things go sideways again, they're going to hit a full reset, both coach and front office.
I was going to say, not just
Shane
one,
too.
Both would go. Where there's a little more stability in Cleveland, as weird as it sounds, in that I think if they have a bad year next year, I think Stefanski's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, his seat would be warm.
Oh, certainly.
He would have left the seat warmer on too long in the morning, but he's there.
Burn your butt in those leather seats.
Your GM's probably still there. So that might be a spot for him to land. Now, maybe some of this is listening too much to Boston Sports Fan, and they're trying to find a way to get Abdul Carter to
fall.
the Patriots
Yeah.
at 4. But I do think that if he landed in Cleveland, it would make sense. You wouldn't look on day 1 of the draft and go, how did Shador end up at 2? Now, the problem is if he doesn't end up in Cleveland and he doesn't end up with the Giants,
Where does he end up?
he falls.
Because I don't think the Raiders look at him.
And I don't think the Raiders look at him. I don't know that the Jets look at him.
Yeah.
And then the other big fall then would be Jackson Dart. Because you want to talk about variance of where that guy could go?
Because there's one mock that I saw him in the top 10, and basically everything else before that, he was the front of the second round.
I was going to say, Tannenbaum has him as a top 10 guy, I believe.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that have him there.
Have him way high.
Which, when that popped up, my eyebrows went up. I'm sorry, what?
Right. He is the prototypical big QB, strong arm, really good athleticism, and so then teams fall in love with him. But when you watched him at Ole Miss, as many times as he made a great play, he had issues. He had key mistakes. You know, you look at the loss that they had to Florida. When they needed a big-time drive, he threw 3 interceptions on that drive. Just 2 of them got called back before the last one finally went through. When they needed a big play, it didn't feel like Dart made the right play. He has all the ability.
I mean, yeah, it's the reason why he was such a high recruit coming out of high school.
Yeah, but I mean, he was with the QB whisperer. Lane Kiffin's known for being a good QB coach.
Getting most out of guys.
Did he get the most out of Jackson Dart? Just because he has all the size, all the intangibles, all the athleticism.
Look, if you're talking about drawing up a quarterback in a lab, they're going to come out looking like Jackson Dart.
Right. And that, like, for me, I would stay away from him.
I wouldn't.
You like Jackson Dart?
If
you want him in Vegas?
If the Raiders got him in the second round, I would be thrilled.
I don't think that he's getting to the second.
I don't either now, but a month ago I did. And the Raiders are picking, 37th in the second round? And it was one of those things where it's like, I could see them very easily going down that path.
I don't know that he gets out of the 20s.
It's going to be interesting. The NFL draft, even though this is a quote-unquote down year for the draft, it's going to be interesting because every team has their first-round pick, and what teams do depending on draft slotting and where guys go and how far guys fall or don't fall, or who falls in love with who and the whole musical chairs of that all shaking out. What, a month away?
Yeah,
April 23rd.
It's earlier this year. It feels like, isn't it?
I can't remember. I think it's the 23rd.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
I think you're correct.
22nd or 23rd.
It's within about a month.
Yeah, which is crazy. The sports calendar is going to flip over here real quick.
It's been a quiet draft cycle.
It has, because I think a lot of that is just a down year with the draft.
It's not as sexy this year.
No, but also we've seen these drafts before where it's like, it's not that sexy, and it's like, oh, there's 4 Hall of Famers in the first round. When you go back and look, you're like, oh, well, that's pretty good. So,
like, oh, well, they worked out.
What the hell is going on down at Stanford? The school of prestigious learning in Silicon Valley finances, going through it right now after thinking they had the coach of the future. He is on his way out, and it's not great, Bob. We'll get that next year on Danny and Dusty Today, the Fan.
was a morning time when I was in high school. I'm in love with the lady.
Things not going well in Palo Alto. Troy Taylor, a coach hiring that we liked, leaving Sacramento State, going down to Stanford, taking over the program 2 years ago, has been removed effective immediately after a case of bullying, retaliation, and just overall gross misconduct, particularly as it pertains to female employees. Just derogatory, inflammatory. Basically, it sounds like everything except for sexually related remarks. Just creating a hostile workplace. This is all reporting from ESPN. And it wasn't a one-off. This has happened multiple times. He was talked to and he was offered the opportunity to sign a letter saying, hey, if you do this again, we're going to get rid of you. Right. And then he did it again, and they didn't get rid of him, and then it came up again.
Well, I'll tell you what. I like the letter that Andrew Luck has put out, because as weird as I think Andrew Luck is, I do think that he's a good guy and that he's going to try and do the right thing. This tells you how bad the timing of this announcement and the firing of Taylor tells you how bad it is.
Yeah, because it is a ramp up of spring football.
No, you're in the middle.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of spring ball right now. You are not, more than likely, not going to be able to go and hire a coach from outside of the university. And if you do, it's not going to be your number one choice. It's not going to be, that FCS coach that you hire and get in like WSU did with South Dakota State's coach Rogers, right? Or like what you thought you had with Taylor the first time that you hired him. What's probably going to happen is you're going to probably have to promote from within.
You're in a gap year.
That coach is going to be an interim, and then you're either going to stick with them or go find someone else. This must have been incredibly, incredibly bad.
Well, I mean, was it 2 weeks ago, I believe, is the reporting that Andrew Luck went to bat and addressed the team with Taylor in the room saying, look, what he's doing is not okay.
And it will not happen again.
Will not happen again. And apparently it happened again. And then another report came up and they said, all right, dog, see you later. Bye.
Yep. And there's a standard that you have to have when you're at the University of Stanford.
Not just as a football coach,
a prestige.
But there's a football coach and Stanford on top of it. It's another layer because the guys you recruit are different.
And I'll never understand why someone would bully or belittle those that work with them.
Yeah.
You have to go and see them every day.
They can make your job easier or harder. Which one do you choose?
And look, I understand there's arguments, right? Yeah. Like one of the staffers, I believe, as I was reading through the ESPN article, was something with the NCAA compliance, right? It was a compliance officer, one of them, where she was telling him and warning him of rules violations that he was facing. You might have disagreements. Hey, I don't think that that's a rule.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I think that there's a different interpretation of that rule. But you know who you should be the nicest to?
The rules people.
The rules person.
Do you want them to go to bat for you? Because here's the thing. On top of that, they hired an independent, not investigator, but kind of a PR firm management team to come in. And even she said, yeah, no, this guy treated me hostile. I can see how this could be taken this way.
It's like in the movie Waiting. Don't F with the people that bring you your food.
Yes.
Yeah, don't bite the hand that feeds you. It's so simple. It's so simple. It's the other one, too, commenting on people's clothing. In this day and age,
yeah.
Like, come on. Let's grow up. It's 2025.
Do these jeans make my butt look big?
Yeah. Like,
no, your face does.
It happens.
It's like, I am not going to comment. I just went on a rant about how you shouldn't, and I will not.
I will, Jeff. Your butt looks great.
Oh, thanks.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can tell. I was like, there we go.
Where is my compliance officer?
I need an adult.
So how do you think the people on the other end of Troy Taylor felt then?
Yeah, see? But this
guy stinks.
Yeah, no, it sucks too because 2 years ago when they made this hire, Dusty and I were talking about this. Like, this seems like a guy that could be the right guy and get Stanford back on track.
He made Sac State a incredibly good university and a good football program.
And we talked to him a couple different times.
He found Cam Scatterbo.
Like he was a guy that like we liked talking to. You know what I mean? Like it was took his time with us and was very thoughtful in the things that he expressed at the last media day that we did. And it was like, I remember getting off the phone with him and being like, we go to a break and Dusty and I just kind of looked at each other like, this dude's got the goods. Like they might have something here at Stanford. And it turns out they might have, but he was not a good dude. And wrong. So unfortunately, that's where Stanford finds himself now and spiraling away in the ACC. Not the place you want to be. All right, coming up next, it's our worst day on the web. And I don't know, man. Everybody has their food choices. Maybe stay away from feral pig. We'll get to that and more. But first, it's Big Kahuna Sports and Update.
You ever had a Big Kahuna burger?
Misfire.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Blazers wrap up their homestand with the Cavaliers in town tonight. 7 o'clock tip on K2 2.2 on your antenna, or KUNP, that's Xfinity Channel 302. DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams III are out. Jeremy Grant doubtful. Delano Banton, Ryan Rupert are questionable, though Rupert has been recalled from the Rip City remix. Donovan Mitchell, meanwhile, out for Cleveland. The Blazers are 6.5-point underdogs. Tonight on 910 ESPN Portland, Steph Curry rejoining the Warriors lineup as Jimmy Butler returns to Miami to face the Heat. Pre-game coverage starts at 4 o'clock, tip at 4:30. The Warriors are 6-point favorites. ESPN's Shams Charania reporting USC star Juju Watkins suffered a torn ACL in last night's win over Mississippi State and will have season-ending surgery. And Oregon sophomore forward Mookie Cook announced he is entering the transfer portal. After missing all but 5 games his freshman year, he will still have 3 years of eligibility. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The inside story on the Blazers, Ducks, and Beavers. Danny and Dusty. Weekdays noon to 3 on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
That sucks.
When was the last time either of you had feral pig?
Well, the next time would be the first.
I think that I've had farm to pig, but I don't know that I've had feral. What about grass-fed? I've had grass-fed pig.
That's not feral.
The feral will be like wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing a cow thing there. Yeah. It's okay whenever your guys had, or it wasn't funny. One of the two.
Just the latter.
I'm filing a report.
Because if you know what actually pigs actually eat, it's the slop pen for a reason.
I was like, don't they eat themselves?
This story,
Are they one of those animals?
Shocking to no one, out of Florida. A man in his 70s contracted an extremely rare and life-threatening infection in his implanted defibrillator after eating feral pig.
But, okay, feral pig, you can still cook it and it be feral pig, correct?
Sure.
Shouldn't that help the issue?
Well, here's where it lies. Before cooking and consuming the gift from a local hunter, the man remembers handling the raw meat with bare hands. Probably some unsanitary, handling it and licking the fingers kind of situation.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's the first thing you take as a former Safeway produce clerk. It's the first thing they teach you when you take the test. Like, hey, do you handle the food, raw food, with your bare hands? No.
It's I am red meat is the only thing that when I'm cooking that I will handle with bare hands. I am not Rop when it comes to like cleanliness of like, for those that don't know,
Rop is clean.
He wipes down everything after everyone, anybody who sits here wipes down the keyboard, wipes down the mouse. We all have our own, and this is obviously a sanitary thing. We all have our own individual mic covers.
Yep.
But there's a Clorox thing here for Rop. He wipes everything all the time.
Pretty much. I don't know of anyone else. I don't think I've seen anyone else use it.
No. I mean, occasionally if you just want to wipe something down.
Or if something's sticky, but that doesn't happen much.
No, because we don't eat in here. Or at least we're not supposed to. But I have, look, I've hunted, I dress my own game, that kind of thing. I have no issue with that. But there's a sliminess to like birds and fowl that I don't like touching. So I buy the big old Costco thing of cooking gloves.
Yeah.
The nitrile food handler gloves.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Worn them before.
Unless it's red meat like steak, I just won't handle it with bare hands.
I think you're seeing a lot of people too with like the red meat that are doing that as well.
But for me, it's like, it's not just a cleanliness thing. It's also just like a texture feeling thing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm out on it. But I am religious about my cooking utensils and my hands like being washed. Like if I use like tongs.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm cutting something up and mixing it together in a bowl with seasoning or whatever.
Yep.
Whatever tongs I use to handle the raw, I use a different set of tongs in the pan. So like tongs to pan, fine. As soon as I
tongs to plate,
different.
Interesting.
Different.
See, I don't know that I have tongs.
And I will rinse it off.
Rinse it off. I do that
in between.
Rinse it off. Have to.
If I think I have come so I got food poisoning so bad one time, it almost killed me. I was in the hospital for a week.
Wow.
It was bad. It was bad seafood. Which is why I really don't.
Not a sushi guy.
Love sushi. I'm not going to say the name of the restaurant, but the restaurant was Cook Seafood.
I didn't cook it all the way through. Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I lost like 30 pounds in the span of a week. It was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to stay in the hospital. It was like 6 days. But I want no part of it. So I am, if there is a part of my life where I am religiously clean,
it's with food.
It is with food, and particularly anything not red meat, because whole red meat, unless you got like mad cow, you're good. Ground beef, though, that's a little bit different. Like anything that's ground, because you have different parts of the animal in there, you can run into other things. But like whole steak, I'm don't get me wrong.
good.
I'm not just like, handling it and licking
Like,
my
sweet,
fingers.
can't wait to touch it.
Yeah, no. But I'm very careful of that. But pork, bird, fowl, anything like that, 100%. Like I have multiple stations in the kitchen set up and nothing touches anything. Like I am disgustingly clear about that. Fan text line mentioned one restaurant. That's not it. It's not a fast food chain.
I appreciated that.
Yeah. Also, I don't think they're around anymore. Are Skippers around anymore?
I think so. I think there's one by me actually.
Is there?
There used to be one
Okay.
by me. That's
I know there's the rare Long John Silvers out there that I see in the wild.
Yeah.
There's one out my way. I believe it's a joint Long John Silver's and Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, yeah. That's usually what I think it is.
There's nothing funnier than the Taco Bell mixed with the other. Like I don't know why they always crack me up.
KFC
like,
Taco Bell?
Like in Battleground, they have the Taco Bell A&W.
That's what it is. The A&W,
we got one of those out there. Yeah.
It cracks me up every time I see it. It's like, do you think they have a rivalry?
Or no, I'm sorry. It's the A&W KFC.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought it was. KFC, yeah.
So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the A&W KFC, and it cracks me up every time. Like, there's a part of me that like I know they all work for the same company, but I want the A&W people to like kind of look their nose up at the KFC people.
Look,
like,
man,
we are the blue collar workers here.
The once a
compared to
year
you.
moment where I'm like, you know what sounds really good right now? That A&W root beer float.
Oh, nothing.
It comes in clutch. There's one in Sherwood,
better.
and like that one warm day when you're stopped at the stoplight at 12th and Sherwood at 99, and I look over there and I see it. It's like just calling.
Yeah. Oh, I remember as a kid the old A&W drive-in and on 101 at Seaside. Yeah.
There's something nostalgic about that malt float that you're just like
a young Tom Ortner. That was his first job. So my father, and I believe that was one of the perks, was like you got to go home with the free root beer float.
Ooh, there you go.
That's a nice one.
See, when I worked at Safeway, we traded goods. It was much like the old school flea market where I would trade the fruits from produce so that I could get the nice, not upfront meat.
Okay.
I had to make sure that I was careful on how I said that because I don't need another drop. I already have enough.
I was wondering why you said it in that manner. I'm like,
there's enough drops of meat today, but it was like I will trade.
Brother, you're not even like. You don't even have a page full. Dusty and I have like 6 each.
That's true. That's true.
And they're so much worse than the ones you've had.
That is true. Well, yeah, there's the dinger one in there somewhere.
They have a lot of holes.
Whoa!
That's a good one.
Whoa!
That's a good one.
That's bad. And I'm whispering?
Yeah.
It's like ASMR.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
By the way, Skipper's still in Woodland, Washington, Puyallup, and Silverdale.
I was gonna say
so Washington only. So they're not down here.
And I believe it is a Northwest chain.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that makes sense though. Woodland is a place where all the old fast food still stays. Like Woodland's an interesting town. I have to be nice to Woodland because, well, they are in 2A, but they're not as good as Hawkins.
As it pertains to this 70-year-old man, this infection, Brucella suis, got into his heart. Apparently, it says he ingested this apparently in 2017, and like it's just come out like what they figured out what it was because they had to remove the entire device, and the scans on this are incredible. So it's a PET scan, a PET scan. And it's of his heart and defibrillator, and you can actually see the infection in the system. And it's so crazy. The bacteria slipped in through the man's defibrillator, passing through his chest wall, the left subclavian vein, and into the muscular tissue of his left ventricle. So they had to pull out the entire medical device. And basically, this bacteria, it's most common in goats, sheep, and pigs. So I imagine wild and not treated for whatever. That's the game you play when you go with the game. So in a 30-year review of over 5,000 patients with a defibrillator, only one patient has ever had this, requiring the complete device removal.
So then he has to get a new one put in, I'm assuming. Does insurance cover that? Do you think insurance has like 8 bad hog insurance? Like this is your heart defibrillator is covered.
You're careful. You're worried about drops, and you just went out with that, huh?
Well, he ate a bad hog. It was feral. I don't understand.
There you go. Lean into it. Lean into it at this point.
Yeah, now I want a full page.
Yeah, no, it's look, it happens. Look, I wanted to go the feral pig because the other one here was we were all kind of probably going to cheer for this because it was one of those parking lot incidents where somebody tried to stand in an empty parking spot to hold it for somebody else. She got run over.
I don't know that I'm going to cheer for the running over of a person, but yeah, you probably
you're looking the other way.
You don't get to do that.
It's the old Chris Rock stand-up thing. He said, I'm not saying I condone it, but I understand.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I don't condone running people over.
You're not looking away. I'm
definitely looking away.
You're looking away.
I would like to not see someone get run over. I can't do the Kevin Ware injury. I'm not going to be able to do someone getting run over.
I mean, if it's Hitler, you don't want to watch?
That's not fair.
So you would.
This is the old. Never mind.
Yeah, no, just look. Never say never. Just
You're
say
right.
it.
You're right. Justin Bieber said that, and now I'll say it.
Sure, why not?
It's a song of his.
Yeah. Okay.
And Jaden Smith.
I'll take your word on that one. Coming up next, unfortunately, injuries suck, and the world of women's college basketball had one of the worst ones last night in the women's college basketball tournament. We'll get to that next here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
Good
Well, unfortunately, last night for the Lady Trojans, arguably the best player in the country, Juju Watkins, against Mississippi State in the NCAA tournament early on, suffers a devastating knee injury, and she's out. You knew it immediately. She hit the ground and did the same thing that every one of us has ever done it does.
Grabbed and screamed.
You reach down, you grab, and you scream. And it's an unforgettable feeling. It's an unforgettable. And the thing is, like, the difference between like a bad sprain and a tear is the sound.
Well, and isn't there like a heat immediately too?
But like the thing that you remember is it doesn't. You don't hear it like outside the body unless a bone breaks. But when you tear a ligament, particularly your knee, it echoes through your body. It sounds like somebody like snapping or like breaking a cord of wood in your head. And it's you just the second that happens, you know. And when you reach down and you scream, back it up.
Right. Well, and usually too, like when there is a tear, like we think of football, they have their helmet on so you don't see it.
Yeah.
Or if it is basketball, usually it's in a group of people. Like it's her and the two Mississippi State defenders.
And it doesn't look really graphic. It's not, again, like Kevin Ware or Yusuf Nurkic.
You can tell the behind angle, it makes it really obvious
you see it
what
buckle.
happened.
Yeah.
But again, it's the Mississippi State player. It was a physical game. She bumps her as she's running.
I believe that was the fifth foul on Juju in the first half alone. They were beating the hell out of her.
They were doing old school Jordan rules, bad boy Pistons.
It was the only way they had any chance was to be physical.
Right.
And I mean, USC put it on them. My God.
And they got her in the right moment where her leg isn't fully stable and she gets hit and it goes. And I think not only is it unfortunate for her, but the timing of it and how it loses some of the momentum, because USC was going to play UConn in the Elite Eight if they both got there.
USC,
they were both going.
They're a number one seed for a reason.
They were both going to get there.
Yeah, I mean,
it was setting up for an epic showdown, and now the women's tournament loses that.
Yeah, I mean, and I've seen a lot of people. And look, we don't talk a lot of women's sports here because it's still not as big as it can be and will be. And, you know, when we get the WNBA team here, we'll probably talk about it a little bit because it'll be during the summer and you won't have the other stuff in front of it. And it will be a big deal here. But everybody's like, well, it's down this year. It's down this year. It's like, yeah, it's down this year because the two biggest stars in Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, who built equity over 4 years, are not there anymore.
But it'll ramp up right when the season starts.
But
because you know who still draws numbers every time I'm on Twitter? I see something about Caitlin or Angel Reese every day.
They'll draw that attention. But the thing that sucks for not only Juju but for women's basketball is she tore her knee in March.
It's going to cost her. It's what happened to Beckers. Beckers did the same thing, and you lost 2 years at Beckers.
And like in this, I said it last night. This is where you tweet This is where you hope and you pray, whatever it is that you do, that she's got the Adrian Peterson super healing factor.
Right.
And
she's back in 6.
And she's back in 6 months, and she's ready to go next season.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's probably not going to be the outcome.
Well, and the other thing about it, I mean, you can listen to any, athlete that has torn their ACL. When do they feel at their best? It's not the first year they come back.
About
it's
18 months.
The second.
Yeah, it's about 18 months
right?
because it's not just the physical stuff; it's the mental stuff of trusting it.
So, with what her age is too, unless she decides to come back and take the medical like Paige did, because there's a difference between how Paige is playing this year as opposed to last year, because last year was her coming back from her injury. If Juju misses next year, which is likely, not for sure, but likely, her senior year would be the year after when she comes back. There's not a guarantee that she comes back and she is Juju like she was this year, where she was.
It took Paige a while to round back in form.
She's the front runner for the National Player of the Year as a sophomore. She took a USC team that is good, but would you say this USC team is as good as UCLA or UConn or South Carolina? They're probably
I mean,
you think they're up there with them? Okay,
I mean, they're number one seed. They beat UCLA.
Okay,
that's the loss. That's the lone loss that UCLA had this year was against USC.
You're right. Okay, so I'll walk it back a little bit.
Big Ten national champion, or Big Ten conference champion, and number one, or not the number one overall seed, but a number one seed. Like Juju is her. Like
she's awesome.
And it's not just that team. You've got Kiki, who came down from Stanford. Like they've
Van Ohoffen.
from Oregon State. Like they've got a loaded team. There's a reason why they're number 1 seed. And as much as the women's game has grown from just UConn and Tennessee, there's still a clear line of demarcation.
Yes.
The top 4, maybe 5 seeds overall. So 20, 25 teams in the country.
The first weekend is blowouts.
After that, it is. I mean, even this game, even without Juju going out, they stomped a hole in Mississippi State. It's. I mean, you had multiple 50-point games in the women's tournament
all the time.
I mean, just this last week.
I want to say UConn was whoever they were playing in the first round.
Were they up 70 at one point in time?
I believe the line was 80.5.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
that's what the gambling line was, 80.5.
The game is growing. It still has a lot more room to grow, and it sucks.
She's a fun star.
She's the next face of women's basketball.
Shoot, right now when you turn on the TV, her commercials are going all day.
I mean, she's all over ESPN all the time, and it's because she's got that it factor.
It factor city too.
Yes, and the one thing that USC does have going for it is Jazzy Davison from Clackamas, the number 2 recruit in the class, will be joining her next year, and hopefully, and for those again, local girl, Oregon, producing another high school monster, following in the path of the Lawsons out at Westview, and every player is coming out of Clackamas and
Cameron
Cambrink,
Brink.
at Mountainside. So not too bad for a small state, but sucks for USC, sucks for Juju. I hate to see it. Hopefully we get it back out there, and it helps grow the women's game. All right, coming up next, we're going to reset. Dive into the Portland Trailblazers tonight, taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this game basically being make or break. We'll get to that here in hour number 3 on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers wrap up their homestand as the Cleveland Cavaliers are in town tonight. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP, K2 2.2 on your antenna, or Xfinity Channel 302. DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams III are out. Jeremy Grant is doubtful. Delano Banton and Ryan Rupert are questionable, though Rupert has been recalled from the Rip City remix. For Cleveland, meanwhile, Donovan Mitchell is out. The Blazers are 6.5-point underdogs. Coming up tonight on 910 ESPN Portland, Steph Curry rejoining the Warriors lineup as Jimmy Butler returns to Miami to face the Heat. Pre-game coverage starts at 4 o'clock, tip at 4:30. The Warriors are 6-point favorites. Oregon sophomore forward Mookie Cook announced he is entering the transfer portal. After missing all but 5 games in his freshman year, he will still have 3 years of eligibility. Stanford fired football coach Troy Taylor today after last week's ESPN report that Taylor had twice been the subject of third-party investigations into his treatment of female colleagues. And ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Mariners and catcher Cal Raleigh finalizing a 6-year, $105 million extension. The deal starts this season and buys out 3 years of free agency. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan. Danny Meringue.
I found 2 empty bottles of a particularly decent Chateau Noir Bordeaux 57 in your rubbish.
Dusty Hera.
You went through my garbage?
This is Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app.
I find it particularly offensive that you use them to wash down an order from something called Macho Taco.
And Portland's sports leader, 1080.
I would never drink a Bordeaux with a Macho Taco.
The Fan.
It was a burrito machisimo.
Hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty on a Tuesday afternoon. Will Ortner in for Dusty Hera. Dusty, hopefully he's got the sand between his toes, and I still have yet to get the picture of the mojito.
So what's the deal with the mojito? Like, does he not like mojitos? So you're like
Mojito's
forcing him to drink a
It's
mojito?
just Danny's favorite.
It's my favorite drink, and
Really?
I said, you're going to Mexico, man. You get look. I know it's a Cuban drink, but
It's not Mexican.
But you can get a good mojito in Mexico.
You can get good any kind of drink in Mexico.
I am a big fan of look again. The sales guys will kill me. Going on the tequila tour, I've done. I've done the Don Julio distillery, as it were.
Ooh,
I came back.
Where is that at?
Mexico.
Well, okay.
Thanks, Tips.
Where's the Buffalo Trace factory? America. Like, come on, dude. Where is it at in Mexico? Don't do that to me.
It's a little off the beaten path.
I knew it wasn't like in Forest Grove.
I can't remember the town it's in. Hold on. It's in Jalisco, but Chichimeco?
Yeah, okay. So I go where and take a left?
Albuquerque.
Nice.
So here. I'll zoom out on the
name a big city.
Well, that's the thing, is like the city that it's in is not that big.
I know, but the surroundings around it.
Guadalajara's probably the biggest.
Okay, I'm aware of Guadalajara.
That's probably the biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sneaking over your thing right now. So it's kind of
it's closer to Guadalajara, but like kind of in between that and Mexico City.
I was gonna say it looks like it's middle of Mexico. I've been to Mexico City, so I'm aware. I'm aware of the area.
So there's another distillery up further north. I think there's one in.
Is there one in Cabo? Yeah, one around Cabo area.
Yeah,
I could see that. That would be smart though, because people would want to go and take a tour.
Oh yeah, no, there's I think there's a couple different ones.
There's a reason why the Whiskey Trail is such a big deal in Kentucky, in Tennessee. Like,
but yeah, no, you go and sample.
So when you are in Mexico, like you're on a vacation, you're in Mexico, you're just mojitos the whole time?
No, I do like them because number one, I like my brown water, but I don't drink it when it's warm. I don't like.
Yeah.
When it's hot outside, you will not catch me with brown water.
Well, that's why tequila's perfect.
Yes.
Like summer is tequila time.
Tequila and rum, like silver rums, Blanco tequilas. I will have some añejo tequila. That's darker tequila.
Gotcha. Thank you. I was gonna say I've heard it. I know it's important. But I just hear tequila.
I typically go blanco. I'm a tequila snob. I will not drink crappy tequila.
Really?
Because it will make it taste. Number one, it tastes awful. Number two, it will make you feel awful.
Yeah. Well, that's
It's
really
all-
true with any cheap booze.
Yeah.
I am learning that. I had a while there where I was like a dump truck. Like I could just drink the alcohol.
Yeah, it's called being under 25.
I know. There's a finer taste thing that's starting to happen because
It's not even a taste thing. It's your body just starts outright rejecting it.
it.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's-
no, yeah, like you don't want to sit there and do the what's
Right.
the one with the spider on it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's basically
Without naming the brand.
It's like half sugar,
Yeah.
and so it just
Yep.
makes you sicker than a dog.
No,
You're just
the Mad Dog 2020s are no longer happening.
You're still-
the Four
you're
Locos,
still
the
buzzballing.
No, I'm not buzzballing.
You quit buzzballing.
I wasn't a big buzzball.
They've got like
guy.
the beach ball
I
buzzballs
know,
now, though.
No, dude, I'm.
They got
now
big
I-
balls now?
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
big balls at the gas station.
Yeah, no, I am.
I saw those for like $14.99. I was like, for $14.99, you can find yourself in a coma.
Yeah,
Good.
no, thank you. I have stepped it up. I'm more high class. I spend a little bit more. I care a little bit more. But like when I'm on like my Mexico vacation or when I go on my trips down to Mexico, I have noticed that it's a rotation for me. But it always starts with, like the strawberry margarita, and I'll have a couple drinks of that. And then the next morning, it's right to daiquiris and rum. Again, strawberry, which is interesting. But it's a rotation of back and forth. Like when I'm day drinking and I'm in my, vacation mode, I'm in Mexico, or even if I'm in, LA or California, somewhere warm, I am going straight to the slushy margarita, slushy daiquiri right away.
Russ, what's the pineapple coconut rum?
Pina colada?
Thank you. Pina colada. Look, I don't care what it says about manliness or anything like that. My wife and I
coconut.
See, I love coconut. Yeah.
I'm not a pineapple guy.
Coconut, pineapple, mango, all my jam. Literally last night, I don't ever really eat desserts, but I have had a hankering for the past week. Haagen-Dazs has a pineapple coconut ice cream. Oh, and it is so good. It's so good. Little tiny pieces of pineapple, but big old chunks of coconut, and I love that. Like I get the granola with the coconut chunks in it, and I'll have that with some berries and
that's
and
fine.
Yogurt. Oh,
I
one of
couldn't
my
do
favorite snacks.
I can't do pineapple on pizza. I certainly can't do pineapple on ice cream.
It's different than what you would expect. But when we went to Mexico, when I proposed to my wife in Puerto Vallarta, she wanted to like do something every single day, and we were down there for 10 days. And I go, no. We spend the first like 2 days in the pool / ocean.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a swim up bar. And if you want to sit, I don't like to sit in the sun and bake.
Yep.
She does. She likes to just cook in the sun.
I need to be in the water. I'm with you.
Give me a little shade every now. Don't get me wrong. I will push off that bar and roll my fat butt out and just float in the water for about 10 minutes. Let the sun really cook me for a little bit. And I go, ooh, this pig's getting crispy. Waddle, waddle, waddle up to the bar. Senor, one more, please.
Yeah. See, now the thing is about and granted, it's been 20 plus years since I've been to Mexico, but you got to make sure you're at a reputable enough spot where you don't have to be terrified of the water and then by extension, the ice.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, that is true.
Yeah. Again, we were at the all-inclusive resort.
Yeah.
Made sure.
When in doubt, go with the bottled beer.
Oh, yeah.
They'll take care of you there too.
But they had
That's good
they
stuff.
had the pina colada like slushy machine going. They're like, what do you want it made with? And you can pick what your booze. And I go for the nice rum. And there's not a number high enough when I was on that trip of how many that I drank in a day.
Yeah.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like I wish
Double
I
figures
could go back
well into through the day every day.
Yes. Well, and you have to remember my last trip to Mexico. This is peak Big Will Orton.
There you go.
I am large and I'm drinking all the time because I'm fresh out of college.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know the fluid ounces consumed. It was a 5-day trip and I don't know that I stopped.
Yeah, no. The fan text line texted in just the word Jägermeister with a question mark.
Yes.
So
I love a good Jaeger bomb.
When I was in the Air Force,
although it's less of now.
Conveniently enough, I had almost all of my uniforms, all the pockets, like what on base, my non-deploying uniforms, all the pockets were sewn down.
Okay.
And that was because they look significantly better. It's a Friday, and it's not a honor guard day or something I got to do. I had 2 sets where the pockets were not sewn down. They were my comfies, right? It just so happens that a 5th of Jägermeister fit perfectly in the pants cargo pocket.
Ooh.
And I would kill an entire 5th of Jägermeister on top of whatever else we were drinking. How I managed to make it through that period in my life.
I was gonna say, man, you must have felt like butt
without, number one, getting sick regularly.
Yeah.
I did fall through a plate glass table once.
So that was hurt, not sick.
Yes.
I get it. Okay.
But I look back at and this isn't like, oh, look how much I could drink, but I could put it down like you could not believe. I remember one time on a bet. Look, if you get me with a stupid bet, I'm a sucker for a stupid bet. $50 to yeah.
Nipple ring.
50 bucks to pound a bottle of Parrot Bay rum.
Oh,
Parrot Bay rum.
Again, when you talk about
coconut flavored rum.
Yep.
Oh, so it's just Malibu.
Basically, yeah.
But
just different brand.
So much more sugar.
Really?
And I tipped that thing up, and down it went.
No, thank you.
In a parking lot before we went into a club.
Brother,
Oh my
goodness,
what a rough night.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess there was a lot of vomiting involved.
Yeah, and that's honestly, that's kind of when it started to change, and I stopped, and I didn't stop drinking rum. I started drinking better rum, and I got that's probably the last time I ever had Cuervo.
Yeah,
because I had Cuervo tequila that night too.
Oh, Cuervo and a bunch of Parrot Bay.
Oh, dude,
yeah, that's a nightmare,
brother. My stomach felt like it was going to fall out my mouth.
Yeah,
it was bad. It was
it didn't.
There was nothing stopping that train.
You can buy it for $14.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's again, it's a step above HRD.
I'm not gonna lie. We've also come to the age for me where if I see the cheap stuff, even if I don't know what it is, I go north.
Well,
it's not. Most of the time in my life, I won't spend above this.
Mm-hmm.
With alcohol, it's I won't spend below.
Yeah,
gotta have a floor.
It can be very dangerous.
The floor has risen.
You are learning, little one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look,
yes, I am.
Up at Alene,
yes, I am.
We went for a couple drinks after the shows got done and had a wonderful raspberry mojito with some fresh mint at one of the establishments up there. It was quite nice.
They have good drinks up there, and they have nice bartenders.
They did not have fresh mint available at the sports bar.
Really?
But I was made aware of the other establishment. There's the Michael Jordan Steakhouse, and there's the other little bar where they had a band in there playing blues live.
The Rock and Brew.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. They had Cheap Trick on Saturday.
Did they really?
Yeah, I swear. I'm pretty sure. No, quite right. It was quite right.
In there?
I'm pretty sure.
My God, that place holds like 50 people.
They have concerts in there a lot.
Wow.
Well, we saw Quiet Ride at the Vancouver last summer in the park downtown.
I'm pretty sure it was Quiet.
KGON event.
Look, you want talking about small venues? It's not the smallest. The fact that Dave Matthews Band played at the Oregon Zoo will never, ever, ever leave my head.
I cannot believe he played at the Oregon Zoo. Yeah, it was quite right.
Yeah, Dave Matthews Band at one point in time was like the biggest band on the planet.
Yeah,
and played the Oregon Zoo.
They get a pretty decent little lineup this summer,
look,
if I remember correctly.
Look, every year I take a look and see, hey, is there a band that's worth seeing for $10?
The Oregon Zoo?
Yeah, because look, you just post up out there. You get the elephants behind you. It's a fun little time. And
I've never been to a concert there.
Yeah, the big old venue where the grass amphitheater.
I want to
They go.
I'll tell you right now. I'm looking for Hardy tickets. I got to buy that soon.
There you go.
I'm excited.
All right. Well, we managed to burn through that segment. We'll get to the Portland Trailblazers taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers next here on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
Thanks for
The Portland Trailblazers taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, and according to the lines right now, the Cavs are 6.5-point favorites. And Jeff Rust, who are the Cleveland Cavaliers without tonight?
That'd be Donovan Mitchell.
And you would know that if you listen to all of Jeff Rust's updates today.
You certainly would.
See, look at that. I'm giving it to you. See, it's giving you that platform. But no Donovan Mitchell again, which boo. Selfishly, I want to watch Donovan Mitchell play basketball. Donovan Mitchell's one of my favorite players to watch. Love him. I mean, obviously, I've talked about it endlessly since 2017. If the Blazers were going to trade up in that draft, that's who I wanted them to draft. Draft Donovan Mitchell, trade CJ McCollum.
That would have been a pretty good deal.
Yeah. At the time, I said, look, if Donovan Mitchell is going to be 75% of CJ McCollum on a rookie scale deal, it is worth it. And Donovan Mitchell's a lot better than CJ McCollum. You also could have drafted OG Anunoby. You could have drafted Jared Allen. You could have basically drafted anybody but who they drafted in Zach Collins and been so much better off.
But he was a pillar of our organization.
Yeah. He's a combination of LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin McHale, and Rasheed Wallace.
It's a pretty good combination.
Yeah, that's what Neil Olshey says.
Just wait till he develops into it.
Yeah.
Still got time. He's pretty young.
Look, there's nothing against Zach. He's an entirely fine player, but oof. But the Cleveland Cavaliers are coming in, and while they still have home court pretty much locked up in the Eastern Conference, it's getting a little tighter. What looked like, they're going to run away with it. They only have a 4.5 game lead.
Well, let's look at the losses.
It's 5. Yes. It's what matters.
Yes.
It's very unlikely that the Celtics are going to make up that ground. The Celtics have now played 72 games. So they have 10. So if they went 10-0 and the Cavs went 5-5, they can make it up.
Well, and the Celtics don't really care, I think, to have the number 1 seed because you're going to play them. And I think if I'm Boston, I trust myself in postseason action.
You've been
against
tested.
a team.
You have the battle scars. You've lost in the finals. You've won the finals.
You've proven you can do it. And Cleveland has not.
And that's
and they're not
going to
push.
Yes.
They're not going to push. But I do think, as much as it does suck for Blazer fans, I want to see Donovan Mitchell. It's the smart thing for Cleveland to do. Mm-hmm. Get him his rest day now. Maybe get him one more rest day before the regular season ends, and then it's go time.
Well, and here's the thing for the Cavs, why it's important is prior to their game against the Jazz 2 nights ago where they won 120-91 because the Jazz don't want to win basketball games, they had lost 4 straight. 123-112 to the Suns, 123-119 to the Kings, 132-119 to the Clippers, and 108-103 to the Magic. Again, those scores that they allowed, 123, 123, 132, and 108 to the Magic who can't score. The Cavs have made their bones defensively, and there's been a shift in the Defensive Player of the Year odds. Draymond Green is now the favorite. Now, that's a big part of that, I think, is a bit of a push from the team in the Bay, but that's what these teams do.
Get him his last one, too.
But it's a... if you're Evan Mobley and the Cavs, if you don't get your S together, you might cost yourself a Defensive Player of the Year. And so it's time to button up. The Cavs, prior to that 4-game losing streak, they won 14 in a row.
Right. They basically clinched and they took their foot off the gas. They went, whoa!
Look,
we did it.
They went to Orlando, LA, Sacramento, Phoenix.
Yeah. We did it. Foot off the gas.
They went to the warm weather in the spring winter time, and they had a good time.
Yeah, and they should.
It's what happened. It's look for everybody that wants to be like everything's about the game and da 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 da. Look, man, they're humans, and they're young humans with a lot of money and a lot of free time.
Right. Well, and
it is what it is, and even the dynastic teams. Jordan was out late till 2-3 in the morning, pounding tequila and God knows what else.
Well, I think,
and then would get up and give everybody that work. Look, these guys have fun when they're on the road.
Well, and I also think it's a lot easier. Well, it's also a lot easier to have more fun when you reach that mountaintop of something you've been going for, and it's Cleveland, especially when you're young. But I think this is a life lesson in general. how often do you have something that you're shooting for? And let's make no bones about it. Cleveland was shooting to be the number one team in the regular season.
Look, they've won 57 games this year.
And they, of course, they have loftier goals. But how often, like at work, hey, maybe you want to be the boss, but right now you're the third rung down. Well, guess what? When you get to be that middle manager, you get that promotion. So now you have a crew of people around you. You're going to celebrate. You're going to take your foot off the gas.
And then you
got to
get back to it. And that's the thing is like, if you're the Cavs,
that's what they're doing.
This Blazers team took you to the brink overtime last time in Cleveland. They're not going to underestimate this team. They're going to want to come in and get business done.
Right.
And if you're the Trailblazers, if you have any hope of making that play-in, you have got to find 8 wins, basically, out of the last 10. Which means you need to win. We did this yesterday. We got 6 games. That means you have to get 2 more.
Yep.
You have to find 2 more games in the schedule. And if you're saying that Sacramento, Atlanta, Toronto, Chicago, San Antonio, Utah.
Most of those are on the road, by the way.
Yes. I mean, after this, the Blazers go on a 5-game road trip, come home for 1, then go back out for 1, then come back for 2.
Yep.
So you have 4 home games remaining, which means of those 4 home games, Cleveland, San Antonio, Golden State, LA. If you're going to win 8 of the final 10, that means you have either got to get every game between Cleveland and Golden State and then pick up 2 of Cleveland or Golden State, or you need to pick up a win somewhere you're not expected to. And it's easier to pick it up at home than it is on the road. So if you're going to have that shot, you're basically going to have to beat Cleveland and or Golden State or the Lakers.
Yeah.
You need 2 of those 3 because inevitably you are going to drop a game on this road trip.
I would agree with that. And I also think, too, for the fans that are going, well, the Lakers are just going to rest everyone, I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case.
They've already done that. LeBron had his little siesta.
They're going to specifically set themselves up for a good matchup.
And did you see what happened to them yesterday?
They have struggled the last 2 games.
The Bulls and the Magic beat the brakes off the Lakers.
And I get that the Bulls are playing much better in the second half for whatever reason.
The Magic went on a 41-15 run yesterday.
The Lakers got to figure it out to where they were before LeBron got hurt. Because when LeBron was healthy, before he gets hurt, because to be honest with you, I think he's healthy.
I
think he had a tweak.
As healthy as anybody can be at 40 years old this deep into the season. He had some knocks and he needed some time off.
Yes, agreed. And perfect time to take it. Then you get into the run. They need to get back to playing the way that they were before, where they were blitzing guys, and while they were undersized, they were making up for it with their speed and tenacity defensively. It's going to take them the 10 games or 11 games, however many they have left, to get ready to go, and they will set themselves up, I believe, so that they're playing a matchup that they see as favorable, whether that is Memphis in the first round or trying to find a way to go up against Houston. I think they're going to do everything in their power to avoid Denver and to avoid Golden State, frankly. I guess it wouldn't be Houston. They'd be looking at one of the play-in teams, so Clippers or Minnesota, Sacramento, maybe Phoenix.
In Sacramento, I've seen people say, well, Sacramento Kings could fall out of this. It doesn't matter. Even if they do fall out, you still have to get past Dallas and Phoenix.
Right.
So it's a very, 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 very slim possibility. And honestly, I think this game could make or break what happens.
You might be able to tell, too, where heads are at on minutes played. You know what I mean?
And at that point in time, could a decision be made organizationally to give guys some rest and be like, look, we gave it the old college try. What's crazy is since that spurt that started January 19th.
There's a valiant effort.
They have 4 separate 4-game winning streaks.
Yeah. And you've seen a lot of growth from the young players. And Denny's awesome.
Denny is awesome. And we'll find a way to talk about Denny tomorrow.
That's my analysis, by the way.
No,
Denny's awesome.
I do want to take some time to talk about Denny tomorrow, and we'll have tonight's game kind of to go off of. And hopefully he continues his incredibly stellar play. But coming up next, baseball season is upon us, and I'm going to get a little nerdy on you because the volume of injuries to pitchers, well, we've got the quantified data, and it's not looking good from Major League Baseball all the way down to the youth ranks. We'll get to that and more coming up. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with the Sports Center update.
You ever had a Big Kahuna burger?
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Trailblazers wrap up their homestand with the Cavaliers in town this evening. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP. That's K2 2.2 on your antenna or Xfinity Channel 302. DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams III are out. Jeremy Grant doubtful. Delano Banton and Ryan Rupert are questionable, but Rupert has been recalled from the Rip City remix. And as we were talking about there, Donovan Mitchell ruled out for Cleveland. The Blazers are 6.5-point underdogs. Tonight on 910 ESPN Portland, Steph Curry rejoins the Warriors lineup as Jimmy Butler returns to Miami to face the Heat. Pre-game coverage starts at 4 o'clock, tip at 4:30. The Warriors are 5.5-point favorites. Stanford fired football coach Troy Taylor today after last week's ESPN report that he had twice been the subject of third-party investigations into his treatment of female colleagues. And ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Mariners and catcher Cal Raleigh finalizing a 6-year, $105 million extension. The deal starts this season and buys out 3 years of free agency. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Dusty and I have talked about this a lot, probably over the last year, just knowing that the data was out there and there was a lot of reports, just the feel around baseball and people in baseball and how they talk about this. But the explosion of arm injuries has skyrocketed. And there's a very long report from Steve McGarry of the Associated Press documenting this, because Major League Baseball issued a 62-page report that showed a direct correlation with exploding velocity for pitchers and arms blowing up.
Right.
I mean, it is across the board. The study showed that Major League pitcher injured list placements increased from 212 in 2005, so 20 years ago, to 485 last year. Days on the IL rose from that season 13,666 to 32,257. You nearly doubled the injuries and tripled the timeout.
Well, and it's when you look at the injuries, and I understand that the Tommy John surgery is saving arms. And in fact, in some cases, guys are coming back stronger and better than ever.
Yes, it's the opposite of the microfracture surgery.
But right now, what they're doing is they're looking at injuries in MLB players and minor league players. I think that's the wrong spot, because this starts when you play on 3 travel teams when you're 10.
Yes.
Because Little League, for all the issues that Little League has, they have the pitch count for a reason. But here's the problem. Most of those top tier kids, the kids that, are 6 foot in 6th grade and are hitting 300-foot bombs and are throwing 70 miles an hour, and on ESPN they're like, that 70-mile-an-hour pitch right there was the equivalent of an Edwin Diaz fastball.
Yeah.
Those are the kids that play on 3 different teams.
Yes.
That play 100 to 150 games in summer league. And they do that year after year after year. And there's more of a pressure and a force now too. And it's not just baseball, but it's basketball. You see it in soccer. For girls sports, you have volleyball, right, where they do this a lot. You even see it a little bit of a movement this way for football, excuse me. There is a specialization. So all you do is pitch. All you do is throw. All you do is play baseball year round. You play more baseball at times than the MLB players. So by the time you get to the minors, by the time you get to the majors, even
the
college,
wear and tear, it's like
your arm is done.
It's like we talk about with running backs. There's a carry threshold unless your name is Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Adrian Peterson. If you are a special running back, you can take an extra 1,000 hits.
Yeah.
But not everyone can.
And nobody else can. You just see it no matter what.
And that's what the problem is. And I think what the MLB is doing, and maybe they're just issuing the report now to eventually go back to it later, but it's negligence in our development system. And by that, I mean our negligence in Pee Wee and Pop Warner and in Little League. Because one Little League coach might be awesome for your pitcher, your kid that's a pitcher, right? Hey, you threw your 75 pitches and you're done. That's it. You're not going to pitch again for 5 days.
Yeah.
The problem is if he plays for 3 other teams, they go, well, he hasn't pitched for us yet. He can come in and pitch. Or you have the issue where you have the coach that's, I know it's 12-year-old baseball. I'm going to win every game I possibly can. So the coach pitches his 2 to 3 best pitchers in 12-year-old baseball as many times as he possibly can.
And one of the things that's being done, or at least proposed at this point in time, is a scouting dead period between November and January. As in, you want to play games? You want to play the indoor games? You want to do the simulations? You want to do all that stuff? Fine, but we're not going to come out and we're not going to be out there.
Right.
So go play another sport, dude. Go do something else. Go let your arm relax. And there's been a push for the return to old school pitching. In CC Sabathia was one of these.
It's spotting. George Kirby's great at this.
But when I talk about CC, CC's been very clear, through his career, season's over, shut down. It's rest time.
Yeah.
Chill. I'm going to let my body recover. And when it gets to spring training, he's done some workouts, but it's about ramping up then. Not ramping it before. The whole reason of pitchers and catchers reporting earlier is to get stretched out.
is to ramp up, is to take your time, is
Yes.
to go slower. I wonder if you'll see this too in baseball. And I know like old baseball fans are going to come in and go, it's a 5-man pitching rotation. And back in the day, you used to pitch the full game and then you never really had a reliever unless
because
it's a
those guys
closer.
weren't throwing 96 plus every freaking pitch.
Or you're throwing a curveball that starts at a dude's head and ends at his kneecaps.
yeah, I mean, look
Like,
at what is that pitch that Skeens has? His
is that the gyro ball?
well, he's got a
or
splitter.
whatever?
It's like a splurf. That's what I think.
A splinker.
Splinker. That's what it is.
He's
yes.
got the splinker.
He's got the splinker. And so there's the whole thing with pitch tunneling, and I love it with Skeens because he has 4 pitches and they go like 4 compass angles.
Right.
It's
and
like
they all have the same release
and it's
angle.
disgusting. It's like, how does anybody hit this?
Well, that's the thing. They
don't.
don't.
But Skeens is also very much a throwback to like the CC Sabathias, the David Wellses, the Nolan, a big dude. Yeah, he's a power arm who hits 102 on the gun.
Right.
But he's not one of these like Tim Lincecum little guys throwing every ounce of his. He's a massive dude.
Right.
And like you don't look around Major League Baseball, how many like not just tall, but I'm talking like heavy dudes.
Yeah.
There's not many big heavy pitchers anymore. They're like refined athletes. And you talk to bigs in the NBA and you talk to offensive linemen, they're not fat or they don't have the extra weight on because they're not in shape. They do it because it allows them to absorb punishment.
Right.
And your body can do that a little bit easier when you're just a bigger dude. The wear and tear doesn't wear on you.
Well, you're not having to use as much of you.
You allow your mass to work for you.
Or you use, like in the case of Randy Johnson, your height.
Your levers.
Logan Gilbert to me would be someone that he wouldn't need to put on weight because he's so much longer than everyone.
When your release point is a foot above everybody else's.
Right.
I still can't imagine. And just a quick shout out. Yesterday was the 30th anniversary? 25-year anniversary.
Something like that.
Of Randy Johnson exploding a bird.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's just that,
he literally exploded.
Look, man, that is the meme of like how when women say they want to go out peacefully and dudes want to go out in a blaze of glory. That is a bird going out into the biggest blaze of glory. You didn't get electrocuted on the power line. You got blown up by a Randy Johnson fastball.
You'll be remembered forever,
right?
But like
carried off on his shield.
It's a fantastic way to go. How do you want to go out? I want to go out by a Randy Johnson fastball.
I mean, as a bird,
there are worse ways to go out.
That's a pretty famous bird.
Yes, the most famous,
right?
Like real bird that isn't a mascot.
Yeah, I mean,
has to be.
Has there been another animal that has died more gloriously other than Harambe?
R.I.P. our sweet prince. This is a great graduation meme.
Put him out for Harambe.
No,
I mean, the exploding whale, I guess, was already dead.
But that's a great one.
We used to observe that.
There's
in
no
class.
more famous whale. So here we go.
We used to observe it in class.
Blazers Game of the Night. They do the 3 headlines. Which one of these is real? None of the players knew the exploding whale was real.
Really?
And Robert Williams had a great line. He's like, I need a list of all of your truths. Like the true things that have popped up in like Oregon history.
Yeah.
Because y'all are wild. Yeah. And I love Rob, man. He the look on his face when they showed they showed him the clip of the exploding whale, and it was like, oh my, that was one of the all-time dude moments.
Oh no, I want it's awesome.
What if we stack? What was it? Was it 1,000 pounds of dynamite?
I don't know.
It was a lot more than they needed.
It was an obscene amount of. Somebody went, we want to make sure that this goes off.
We used to watch that every day. Like every time there was November 12th, the National Exploding Whale Day. We used to watch the exploding whale every single year in science class.
They still have the OG footage in a vault at K2.
Yeah,
because they were the ones who.
Well, and the K2 reporter on the scene that day, Paul Lindman, who was the speaker at my high school graduation.
There you go.
This picture is so big.
You got Paul Lindman. I got Steve Lyons.
Yeah, right on.
There you go.
Yeah, Beaverton grad.
There you go.
The flesh of the whale went 800 feet.
Oh yeah, dude! Like it destroyed cars.
Yeah,
it was like dropping boulders from the sky, except it was blubber.
We should do it again.
You had like 40-pound chunks of whale coming down.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
The fact that nobody died is insane.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
There's video of the parking lot and like every car is crushed.
It's like amazing how they didn't set up Paul Lindman and the camera crew behind one of those
blast shields.
Yeah, like you see on MythBusters,
or go in the bunker for like the nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Days before the blast, a local explosive expert had purchased a new automobile in a get a whale of a deal promotion. It was damaged by the falling blubber.
Yeah.
Karma.
Yeah. Well, again, not a small whale.
Yeah.
It was a big whale.
Yes.
And a lot of look, I'm glad they went. You always go with more dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to not explode your whale at all.
You don't want to just like split it in half.
Yeah, I'm saying, great. Now we got to do it again. Except for now, there's just chunks everywhere. Like,
no, you gotta take care of it. It was an estimated 16,000 pounds.
Oh my God!
It was 45 feet long.
Oh, the whale.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not the explosives. I'm like, we went 1-to-1. Good God.
Oh man.
It was 14 meters long for those of you listening in Canada.
That's maybe a bit much. It's maybe a bit.
No, it's not enough.
Well, no, going 1-to-1. Like I think that's probably a bit too far. But back to the pitching of it all.
That's right. We were talking about baseball.
Pitching, whales blowing things up, blowing their arms up.
Bigger pitchers, whales.
The biggest push here is that it needs to happen. It needs to be fixed at the youth level. There's talks of not allowing breaking balls until basically high school. Which,
how do you enforce that?
I mean, it's pretty clear.
Don't let it curve.
Well, no, I mean, you can't be teaching kids how to throw 12-6 curves.
Well,
before their arms are developed.
Yes, well, and that's a real thing. But I think you're onto something with if you're constantly redlining your body.
Yeah,
you're constantly,
no matter what it is,
right? Like think about it. If you take your car and you just redline it, every single chance you get, your car is going to explode. And when you have baseball players that, since the age of 10 or younger, they have been pitching all the time. They've been throwing all the time. They've been playing for multiple teams. Their arms are done. They come into a spot where they are throwing as hard as they possibly can, as many times as they can, because what are you told? Velocity gets you drafted. Velocity gets you a scholarship. Eventually, you're going to see these issues. Yes, the curveballs, that's an issue. But there's so many different issues that lead to the one big problem that you're going to have to, it's going to take a conscious effort from sports like Little League and organizations like that to get this to stop.
Yeah. And with that, when we come back, I have a minor bone to pick. It's a household quibble. We'll get to that coming here as we wrap up today's show on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
It's time for Legends of Hoop, an inside look at the college basketball championships. Brought to you by Legends Casino Hotel, within winning distance.
Defense from the Trojans, and Watkins goes down hard, and she's grabbing her right knee, quickly grimacing in pain. Juju Space telling the story of being carried off the court.
That was Ryan Ruocco of ESPN on the call last night of USC and Mississippi State as Juju Watkins goes down and unfortunately suffers a devastating knee injury. She will be out for an extended period as she has her ACL repaired. The hoopiest of hoopers lost in the NCAA tournament.
This stinks because they were setting up for a big game against UConn later down the line, and now we don't get it as sports fans, and we don't get to watch Juju for probably at least another year.
Legends Hoop is brought to you by Legends Casino Hotel. Escape to Legends Casino Hotel within winning distance. Just a short drive to Toppenish, Washington. The ultimate destination for fun and relaxation, legendscasino.com.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to
Prime Time with Isaac and Sue.
You died looking for Bigfoot. That's like, is it the equivalent if I jumped out of an airplane and said, I thought I could fly?
Right.
Is there much difference between dying looking for Bigfoot and not being prepared for the terrain of Bigfoot? What was he doing jumping out of an airplane? He had no parachute, and they're like, dude, I think he thought he could fly.
The home of Prime Time with Isaac and Sue. Weekdays 3 to 7, 1080 The Fan.
Time is ticking away. Don't let another minute pass. Plan your retirement now with Trajan Wealth for the future you deserve. Call Trajan today at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text. Text KING to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text KING to 321-321. That's KING to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
You want a mower that delivers a quality cut and an exceptional ride. You need the Kubota Z200 series with the new K-Ride comfort system, designed to give you everything you need to glide your
Minor quibble in the Meringue household. My wife's not feeling very good right now, and
whale.
No,
she had some of the exploding whale.
Exploding
was it
whale
cooked all the way through?
No, it wasn't good. It was the feral pig. But I sleep like a log. The only thing that wakes me up is the pain in my knees or hips. When I go out. The position that I fall asleep in is the position that I stay in. She's a frequent tosser and turner and just not feeling good. She's kind of just all over the place. And last night I kind of rolled over at like 2 a.m. and mildly rude. I was like, "Are you okay?" Like, she's like, "No," and I'm like, "If you keep doing this, I'm moving to the couch." And she was like, "But why?" And I'm like, "I want to be near you." I'm like, "You're sick, clearly." Like, and she just texted me. She's like, "I don't feel good. I think another day off." And I'm like, "Is it wrong of me to be like, I'm moving to the couch because you're ruining my sleep?"
Well, as someone who never has to move to the couch, because if someone else is in my bed, that's a problem.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have went to bed there with me. So I don't know how you deal with this.
I try to just,
I think you're fine.
Mostly ignore it. But last night, it went on for hours last night. And finally I was like, I'm going to move to the couch. And I don't know. She just kind of went, and
no, that's where you just like, that's want to make sure you get enough sleep. I want to make sure you're
yeah, no,
okay,
I tried to make the comeback because
I'm being a giver here.
Yeah. I tried to save it, but I was already like grumpy because she basically kept me up for 2 hours.
Should she move to the couch?
Oh God, no.
I was going to say, no, you don't suggest it. No. You don't suggest it. Shouldn't she take it upon herself?
No, she doesn't feel good. Wifey not feel good. Yes. She don't move couch.
Absolutely
but
not.
But if you didn't feel good, you would move
Jeff
to the
and
couch.
I 100%.
If either one of you didn't feel good, you'd move to the couch.
Yes.
Okay, I just want that.
Wife gets bed. Yeah. Trust me.
Okay, not married. Just
we'll check back in on this one in a couple years.
Just had to ask.
Trust me, I've screwed up plenty of stuff over the last 22 plus years, but there's a couple things I know to get right.
Nope, don't get that one wrong.
Just had to ask.
All right.
Had to ask.
That'll do it for us today. We'll order in again. You're in here tomorrow for Dusty, right?
Yes, sir.
And then Dusty will be back on Thursday. Coming up next, 4 hours of power from their mouths to your ears. Isaac and Suk, prime time. We'll check back with you guys tomorrow, noon to 3. Take care. Talk soon. Bye. Blow dart to the butt.
They have a lot of holes.
I'll get it in.
All the way into the meat.
We ate a bad hog.
That's very rude and it's very nasty.
Sorry. It's Isaac Ropp for Window Nation.